Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Yeah, hope y'all ready. It's about to go down, go down. Hey.
I found the tweet that I was trying to look for before we started the show. He said, I don't see Cena winging it. Somebody said that. I don't see Cena winging it. Boy, were they wrong.
It's John Cena. I don't know what people were expecting. Like, I got exactly what I expected. I said it on the show like 2 weeks ago when the match was announced. So I said, oh, John Cena announced for a tag match. You know how this goes. He's gonna sit on the apron and like feign like he wants to be tagged in, and it's not gonna happen till he's gonna come in, do 5 moves of doom, and like that's it. That's what he came back to do. I wasn't like disappointed because I knew what this is gonna be. Like, this is what he's done. This is he wasn't gonna take any bumps. He wasn't gonna do any of that. He's gonna come beat John Cena and give you some John Cena stuff. This wasn't all that different from like what he did at WrestleMania 33. This was less than 33,
right.
But nonetheless, I mean, look, he's.
But y'all got the inspirational staring into the camera and saying, I'm doing this for y'all. Ran down to the ring, threw his hat off, did like his running the ropes and hot tagged 5 moves of doom. See you later. Good night, guys. Have a safe ride home. Like,
definitely, that was a house show. A house show loop right there for Cena for sure. Definitely not the most disappointing thing on this show at all. I was expecting.
But like that. Yeah. That's the thing because the example I pointed out was I gave Super Showdown 2018 where he tagged with Bobby Lashley against Elias and Kevin Owens, and this was the match. It was the same exact thing. Like, Bobby worked the majority of the match. He hot tagged Cena. Cena did a handful of moves and then called it a day. Like, this is the match you're gonna get if John Cena's announced for a tag match, and that's okay. Like, that's. Like I said, you only get 2 gears out of John Cena right now, and it's this one or Big Match John. And Big Match John was not coming for this match. That wasn't going to happen. So you got your 2 gears, and he pulled it off. That's what it is. Like, I'm not mad about it. What I'm happy about is that it's the end of 2022. Not that 2022 is a bad year. As a matter of fact, this is a great year. Depends on who you ask, of course. If you... The end of the year is always a good time to reflect, possibly reset or recharge or keep moving forward. And yeah, I felt like we had a great year this year, but I know that the wrestling business was definitely it was a seesaw of emotions as the year went on, but it's already looking like 2023 is going to be it's going to kick off hot. It's going to kick off exciting. So either way, I hope everybody's got some great New Year's plans and all of that. I'm Will Washington, by the way, here on Grapsody. Philip Lindsey's also here.
Yeah. I don't know. Did we do anything last week? Did we? I don't know. It seemed like, there was like
pretty
Christmas.
Quiet out here for you boys, wasn't it?
Quiet out here for you boys. I don't know.
I forgot this is the first show we've done since then because of like so much has happened.
Same here.
Yeah. Also, Righteous Reg is here.
In the building, it's your boy, Media Man, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. End of the year. It's been a wild year. We ended it as wild as you can get. People have been talking very funny about us all week online. On Reddit, they be saying some funny shit about your boys on Reddit, I swear. And Will Washington on Reddit, oh my God. Will Washington, you're next to Dave Meltzer on Reddit, dude. I swear. Maybe putting your tweets up like you be really spitting. Maybe like, no, Will Washington said it. It's the gospel. So that's what you are, man. Just take it.
And the thing is, I don't like. I don't frequent Reddit. I get stuff sent to me by Reg, and then that's how I Reg is a Redditor. Reddit for me is I use certain subreddits to figure shit out when I'm confused. But other than that, like, I don't know.
Oh, it's bad out there. Don't get it twisted. I don't have fun when I'm doing it. It's mostly for research purposes. It's awful. There's some awful takes on there. You think Twitter has some awful takes? Let these guys go off. Ooh wee. It's bad out there.
No, I appreciate though. I appreciate anybody sharing my takes or I guess scoops in some case.
You got some good ones this week, didn't you?
I mean, yeah, when wrestling comes to my town, I'm always going to make sure that I got my ear to the ground on certain things. Of course, there was a story that came out on Fightful Select this week about changes to the show because I had heard pretty early on, and I think I told you guys, but I had heard pretty early on in the week that there was going to be some travel woes. People were telling me Monday that their flights were getting canceled, that they were trying to find ways into Denver. But then also we had a giant snowstorm that hit Wednesday. So I think the thing that I was most impressed with was I heard Tuesday that Tony was having to make a bunch of changes to Dynamite. And I thought, shit, what match is going to get canceled? And the thing I was impressed with was nothing. Every match that was announced did make it. There were segments that they didn't get to do. And I know that Rampage was put together pretty last minute. But as far as Dynamite was concerned, every match that got announced for Dynamite was there. Yeah, Sean kind of hinted that I was going to tell a story this week. And really quick, I want to make sure that I tell everybody to get those Humper Chats and Super Chats in. YouTube.com/Fightful is the way that you can send in a Super Chat. And Humper Chats, of course, are sent over at humperchats.com. They really help support what we do here at Fightful, and they support your boys. And it's always a good time. This was a good month, just period, December, just in general. And I really appreciate everything everybody's been able to do to help support us. Thank you, for real, bottom of my heart. Sean, though, yesterday hinted that I had a story. And really, it was just around the main event of Rampage because I think it goes without saying that I hung out with Swerve a bunch when he came into town because why wouldn't I, right? Like, this is, look, I've seen him a bunch this year because, I've been to a whole bunch of AEW shows and I saw him perform in New Japan Strong as well. But the thing that he hasn't gotten to do is come to Denver. And so they came to Denver, so got to be here, took a picture right over there. People saw the belts in the background, all of that. But one of the things that I was not under the impression of was that he was wrestling. And that was because the match with Yuta was supposed to be next week. That was going to be the match for Seattle. That was going to be his match for Seattle. Mm-hmm. And he ended up working that main event because there was so much shuffling. As we reported, Eddie Kingston was supposed to be on Rampage this week. They were going to do some follow-ups with the House of Black stuff. Britt Baker was supposed to be on Rampage this week. And they didn't have her. They didn't have Saraya. There was a lot of people behind the scenes they didn't have. And even as simple as I know Dakota Runnels, she does photography for AEW. She wasn't even able to make it. They were shorthanded. But the fact that they were able to put that main event together, I was really impressed with. And I thought it was a really good main event. I thought it was a good first showcase for Swerve as a heel and really getting to showcase the Mogul affiliates because that's... obviously, talking about the segment from last week, I don't think they really stuck the landing on that one as far as introducing everybody, but and we talked about that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talked about that a lot. What am I talking about? I had to talk about it on 3 different podcasts, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that it came together, right? Like, I feel like it... to me, I think that the visual of the two of them, and I think one of the things that I think they needed to shift and change, and to me, I think they did, was that Parker works best just like in kind of silent menacing mode. And kind of just standing talking. That's a big dude. I actually drove that guy around, and like I have a little ass Nissan Leaf, and this big ass dude getting out of my car looked like a fucking clown car. Like that's as we pull up to the destination, and then all of a sudden it's just like I just see big ass dude get out of my little ass car. And yeah, I think that just him being in that mode, I think, is better for him as opposed to doing the Brock taunt, right? Like we talked about that, doing the "Here comes the pain," press X, and then after he throws the lariat, then he does the shoulder taunt. Yeah, don't do that. But no, I think it works better. I thought
the presentation last night on Rampage made this way better looking. How they looked in the Mark Henry segment with them, two of them behind Swerve, and how Swerve was, and then the match and everything. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it now. Yeah, I understood it.
I got my first vision of it. So I drove the three of them, which was funny too, because Grandin is just like he's just a menacing looking dude with the tattoos all over his face. We pull up at the stoplight, and his little kid like is just staring just staring out the window at him, just like, what is happening here? What? But they had an interview to do over at 104.7 The Drop here in Denver, and which shout out Graffiti, who did the interview, who also did our logo. So things kind of came full circle. Graffiti designed the Grapsody logo, but he interviewed Swerve, and it was originally set to just be an interview with Swerve, but the idea of talking to Swerve while having just these two heavy hitters just standing behind him, just silently with their arms crossed, just staring, I thought actually made it a great visual, because he's like answering questions, but you just have these two menacing looking dudes just standing behind him, not saying a word. And that's, I think, exactly what they need to be. Like, not a word, nothing.
Right.
Heavy hitters. Suckers.
So I think the visual worked for that. But yeah, Yuta was supposed to be in the match in Seattle, and now that that's not the case,
we got a lucky change, baby. How did we get here? I mean, I knew we were going to get here, and I'm very excited that we got here in Seattle, of all places. Swerve's home. This is just the perfect pairing. AR Fox has been on a tear since he's entered AEW. You know me, I'm a huge AR Fox fan. Every match that he has is must-see. We all know about the Lucha Underground history, one of the greatest Lucha Underground matches of all time. These two guys. So for them to be able to do it on a big show, AEW's kicking off the year, starting over, everything is just, it's lit. This match is going to be on fire, man. I'm so excited. I can't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I would have liked to have seen what Yuta was going to do with the crowd against him, and kind of having to work heel a little bit, but because I think that would have been an interesting dynamic. But at the same time, I think having the Denver crowd behind Yuta was able to make Swerve more effective as a heel. Right. And then against AR Fox, they can just kind of get into like, this is awesome mode. That should be cool. It should be exciting. I think people are really looking forward to that, and that should be a dope match in general. I'm talking about some of the super chats we got. We have Haley Mann says, I got into pro wrestling because of my boyfriend 6 years ago. We watch y'all together often and always enjoy the discussion. Thanks for what you do. Thank you, Haley. That's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Shout out to both of y'all.
Yeah. Cameron says, Happy New Year's Eve, guys. Been a joy discovering you guys this year. Congrats on the TK interview and wishing the most success for you in 2023. Thank you for that as well. That ended up being our most watched show. Yeah, for like, it is definitely.
Definitely.
Which is funny. I sent you guys the image though that the of the back-to-backs of the two most watched Grapsody episodes are the TK interview and the show we did after Tony's tweet last year. And so side by side, it's like start of the year, end of the year, and those sandwiched were the two biggest shows we did. Kenneth Love says, why didn't they pre-record promos for Rick Ross? Who says they didn't? And Tony P says, just here to pay Cam's nigga a fine from last week. That comment was too weird.
Wait,
Don't say that. You're supposed to bleep it on here. We
His
can't
what
say
fine? What?
that. Yes, because remember.
Oh,
there was
you
a
didn't see,
comment
you didn't
about
see
a
the
guy-
comments?
I did, but just the fine. Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's wild. The
Um,
nigga fine is wild.
Yeah, no,
I said it again. Sorry. I'm not supposed to say it.
Bleep.
No, but for real though, I mean that was a great episode last week. By the way, thank you Cam for coming through and being a
Shout
part
out
of
to
that.
Cam with this article. If you haven't read yet, he did an
Yeah,
interview
so
with Sting. I don't know how we got to Cam and Sting, but that's what this year is like, man. It's like
that's what we
big
were
shout
kind
out
of
to
hitting
Cam.
at last week. Yeah, they hit him in that interview with Sting, and he got some great info out of that interview. The Sting talking about his, he knows his end game at this point, and it's going to involve Darby. Look, that's some great shit.
That Darby segment last night was great. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. That was a great segment.
Oh, I was annoyed. If Sting was in town and we didn't get to see him,
Nah, you were like, I don't want this
You're
great
like, wait,
backstage segment. Come out here.
You're like, nah, Sting was back there, and I didn't get to see him. Fuck this promo.
Get out here. We got all this snow outside. We didn't get any snow inside for Sting. Come on.
that's how I felt.
Get out
I'm like,
here.
wait. Sting was here. So, yeah, that was. Unless they taped that at some other point, but regardless, that was. I don't know when that would have been taped, but like the fact that they showed a backstage segment with Sting, and we didn't see that in the arena at all, so I didn't see that segment till last night, and I was just like, wait, when the hell was Sting here? Like this can't be. I felt a way about that, but either way, because man, love John Moxley. But we had to see that Wild Thing entrance 3 times in the show.
I was thinking that when I was watching the promo on Rampage, I was like, damn, Moxley is there again. But I didn't know it was 3 times. It felt like that was just like, because
He cooked that promo, though.
There was
he
him
cooked that
on
promo.
the camera, and then he had some backstage. He had a couple of backstage things. Like he was on camera a lot this week. So
yeah, it was a very Moxley heavy show. Like Moxley, he had the tag match with Claudio versus Top Flight, and we had the Wild Thing entrance. He did the full entrance again during Rampage when he came out for that promo. Of course, then we see him on the screen during the face-off Swerve and Wheeler. And then after the show was over, it was Moxley that sent us home. He did the entrance again. And so
Again.
we got Wild Thing again.
we had Wild Thing 3 times because while Wheeler was in the ring, because after Swerve won and Wheeler's in the ring by himself, then Moxley comes out and he's like, give it up for Wheeler Yuta, and then he sends us home. He actually had a really cool message at the end. He said that he was like, a lot of you who were here last time we were in Denver, it was March 4th, 2020, and he said he was like, I had just won the AEW World Championship. I got to come out, celebrate with you guys as champion, and then I went home and found out the world was shutting down. And he said, we've been back on the road a lot, and we've been a whole lot of places. We've sold out Arthur Ashe. We sold out the United Center, all this stuff. And then he goes, but I never felt like we were truly back on the road until I could come back to this building, the last place I was before the world shut down, and close it out. And so I was like, damn, that was cool. And I got a pop from the crowd, and people were happy with that message. And
Thank you, Denver.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Broomfield is not Denver, and that is like a really important distinction. I mean, it's like if you take the freeway, you could probably get to downtown Denver in about 20 minutes, assuming there's not a snowstorm. The people I know who were in the snowstorm, if you watched Day After Dynamite, you heard Darren Reynolds tell the story of how he left the arena 9:30, which was around the time that Rampage let out. He did not get home till like 1 a.m, almost 2,
Yeesh.
because traffic was moving at like 3 miles an hour. It was bad. It was a really bad snowstorm. I was just like, I stayed in a hotel. I stayed in a hotel near the arena, and I'm like, I'll go home in the morning. And that was...
Yeah, it was. Oh man, that weather over the weekend was awful. And then it just jumps up to like 50, 60 degrees this week.
Oh yeah, right now it's currently 50, not a cloud in the sky. But that's the thing, is that snowstorm, because like in Colorado, snowstorms pass very quickly, but they'll dump huge. So it was like we got hit with... So when we walked into the arena, no snow whatsoever. There was not even a snowflake had fallen when they let us all in. And Dasha tells us on the microphone, hey, get home safe because it looks like shit out there. When they sent us home, Moxley said the same thing. Moxley's like, hey, yeah, get home safe, guys, because it does not look the same as it did when you walked in. Damn. We get outside, just like blizzard conditions. There's inches upon inches of snow on the ground. It's barely visible at all. You see cars just slipping and sliding everywhere. And it's like, it did not look like this when we walked in. And the next morning, clouds are gone, sunny. It just came, dropped all that shit on us, and left. And that was it. It was a few hours, but it was a bad couple of hours. So
I keep thinking you're wearing that red, back to Cena, the red Cena shirt that he used to have. I'm like, why is Will wearing that Cena shirt right now?
This is actually my Rangeview Raiders t-shirt. I went to Rangeview High School, and I was just like, threw on the first shirt I could find out of a drawer, and this was it. This is the high school I went to, Rangeview, in Aurora.
Rangeview?
And, yep, that was it. That was... I don't know. Don't look up any stats about Rangeview because you'll be like, how is Will smart at all? Like this,
you're in the 1%.
That school, I think, failed its students more than like any other school on earth. It is, it was definitely a nightmare of a school. But hey, it's Rangeview. Who cares? Those who went know that it's something we were all loyal to, but it was also some shit went down at that school that some people just don't talk about. Our security guard had a relationship with a student, and we knew it. Like, everybody kind of knew it. It was bad. You knew better, dude. You knew way better.
Right? Is he locked down? Did he got away with it?
Oh, yeah, no, that man he was like, he wasn't like significantly older. He was like maybe like 22, gotcha. But like old enough. Like it was bad. And it was the senior, so it was like 22 and like 17. Which like when you're in your like late 20s, like if you were 27 and 22, that's not so bad. But yeah, don't fuck around with high school students. Like that's the lesson here. And
yeah, that's definitely one of those Kanye lines that didn't age well. How old is that? Old enough.
Yeah, nah. Did not age well.
Nope. Yeah, that was. But like I said, he was 22, so he was one of those like security guards that was always kicking it with the students, and like, you know, everybody always went to him for weed. Like that was.
He was wildin'.
He was. Like, everybody knew it, and it was like nobody said anything until he got in trouble for fucking with the student.
And then they were like, "Oh yeah, he sold me weed too." And they were like, "Well, why did you guys say anything?"
No, that brother got in a whole lot of trouble. Let's see. We have Kenneth say, oh, wait, we read that one already. What didn't we read? Chris says, you guys had a great 2022. Thank you, Chris. And I hope you keep getting more interviews and more opportunities in 2023. Happy New Year, guys. We're going to have more interviews. That's without question.
Shout out to the doc that I was just given notice this morning by him that people thought this man was black before he changed his profile picture. So I'm glad that he could change that. He could straighten that up for you guys. Now, a great guy. I'm sorry, I saw that message like right before he started recording. I was like, wait, what?
Right. Okay.
I'll say this about Chris though. Chris deserves a lot of the credit for basically the interview structure of 2022 for us, because Chris got us the interview with Jade, and that kind of set everything in motion. That was exactly how that interview happened. Was Chris
crowning achievement that episode?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
shout out to Chris because it's been super lit since that Jade episode, honestly. So yeah.
Yeah, that honestly was what did it. That was wheels in motion for interviews on Grapsody. Like we had the captain had appeared on the show. That was a very impromptu thing. Shout out Captain, by the way. I got to see him and talk to him.
Big shout out to
this
Captain,
week.
man. I did think him when we interviewed Tony, because I'm like, yeah, he came in and he took the pressure of having to do that New Year's Day episode, and he did great. And I think a lot of things he said on that episode have kind of come to fruition. So
Yeah.
I think he deserves his flowers for that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I had something pointed out to me by high ups in AEW about the card this week, which was that it's, I think, almost 60% black, if I'm not mistaken. It's there are 13 people booked in match at 13. That can't be right. Can it? No, 14. It has to be 14. Because no, god damn it, I'm just gonna look at the card. I was like 13. That can't be right because that's an odd number. You can't have an odd number of wrestlers because there's no like handicap matches. But I know where I can pull up that card. Well, regardless, I know that 9 of the participants in the matches are black wrestlers. There's you got Swerve and AR Fox. You have both members of the Acclaimed. You got Jay Lethal. You've got Jade Cargill. You've got Ricky Starks. You've got Kiera Hogan, and you've got Red Velvet. Like that. That's a really large portion of the Seattle card that is black performers. You kidding me?
Go, baby.
That's
dope.
exactly the thing we've been. Well, honestly, I was going to say that's exactly the thing we wanted to see, but it's almost an oversampling when you think about it. But regardless, I won't complain about that. Are you kidding me? Getting to see more black wrestlers on my TV. But yeah, that's just the representation on that show is exactly the thing that we've said we've wanted to see, and to see that much is actually really cool. And to see it all kind of happen in a natural way, right? Like, it doesnle necessarily feel tokenized in a way because everybody who's performing on this show has gotten there organically, or at least in an organic spot. Maybe you could argue Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett really haven't, but hey, the rap was good.
Yeah, no, I thought the Acclaim spot this week was great.
My
their videos,
God,
their videos are always better than their freestyles to me. I always think the videos are much funnier, and I think that Max Caster's raps in them are usually better. I thought this was incredible.
Yeah, no, honestly, he had some bars there. Like the it's a scheme like Global Force Gold was a really good line. I didn't think anybody would ever drop that one on TV. Stealing money like you stole Kurt Angle's wife, like that line.
She wasn't feeling that either. She was
Yeah,
like,
no.
Just watch your mouth.
Yeah, she was not
A little
feeling
too
that.
real. Too close to home.
Jay Lethal was at the top of ROH through the bad years. Like, what?
Kind of cooked Jay too, man. He was like, nah, man, I ain't never had to copy Macho Man to get over. Oof.
Oh,
Oof.
yeah.
I got a better elbow drop. Nah, honestly, I think that was probably Caster's like hardest diss. And then the fact that he said, "You're the worst Jeffrey since Dahmer," and then tweeted he was like, "I had a different Jeffrey in there, but I had to change it." And I'm like, "Oh my God, he had Epstein." That's really
Yeah, he probably good reason to cut that one, I think. Yeesh.
So either way,
Tough.
at the end of the day, that was a good one. But yeah, but like I was saying, just thinking about the fact that the Acclaimed is it has gotten naturally over. We're in the midst of Swerve's heel ascension, and so that's happening very naturally. And obviously, he's going to be on the show because he's from Seattle. But then, like Ricky Starks has just had a natural babyface rise, facing Chris Jericho. Like he belongs in that spot. Jade Cargill, and we got a little bit of a payoff. Or not payoff, but we got some story advancement last night.
We're getting a how can they coexist tag match?
But yeah, because we saw Jade, she was taking it to Kiera Hogan, and Red Velvet stood up for her friend and stood up to Jade, which we've been talking about for a little bit. They've been kind of hinting at this and building to this for quite some time. It's been pretty much since Red Velvet's been back. She's kind of had a look on her face of like, yeah, Jade's gonna do her thing, but I'm not with it. And finally, she stood up to her. Look, I know people have certain things in mind for who should beat Jade Cargill, but honestly, to me, the most, again, talking about organic rise and organic things, the most organic story you do have is Red Velvet.
It's there.
Yeah, she's her longest standing rival in the company. They have the most history together. It make a lot of sense for her to beat her. I don't think she's going to, but I wouldn't be upset if that was the end of the streak.
Right. 'Cause, I mean, Jade's first match, who was across the ring from her? Red Velvet. Like this, there's history, very long-standing history. And Red Velvet has been on fire since she's been back. Like how her facials, how she's presenting herself when she's in the ring. Like if anybody is ready to beat Jade, I think Red Velvet is very high on the list.
She looks hungry. She looks like she's been ready to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, honestly, that would be kind of a cool story, I think, is just kind of I don't know, the one that knows Jade best finally has her number, like the one who kind of beat her from the inside. Like we were enemies, I got close to her, I got to know her, and now I beat her. Like that would be a story.
That is good. And shout out to Kiara having her blue hair back, because
she actually looked great in that match.
I
think that people kind of undersold how good that match was because so much was going on the episode. But I think when they give Kiara a chance to wrestle, she's been fantastic.
She's great.
I mean, I will say this. So two things. One, Kiara, I love Kiara. I will say, I feel a certain type of way when I'm in a crowd and Kiara's wrestling and I have to chant Hogan. Because and I see people around me are chant Hogan, and I'm like, I guess like
something else.
Hogan. But like
she's got to start cupping that ear, man, and poking up.
No way. Please don't.
Please don't.
I know it's like, look, there's two black people in the ring, and I'm chanting Hogan. Like something feels wrong here, but I know.
Can we get a Kiki chant started out here? That sounds way better than Hogan.
Yes. Everybody should just start chanting it every time. Kiki, do you love me?
Way better than that Hogan shit.
Like I said, something feels wrong chanting a Hogan at anything, let alone in a match with two black people.
Nah, we might be on to something, man. We might have to start getting this Kiki, do you love me shit going.
I like it.
Or honestly, maybe like it is a kind of a thing of only Hogan we acknowledge is Kiera. That honestly,
it's just too weird.
Yeah, it's weird. But I will say that because like the crowd wasn't really into the match to start, but when Red Velvet grabbed Jade's hand, that like people stood up. There was like we didn't see that coming, and then all of a sudden everybody got into Kiara's flurry of offense from there, and it was a cool little cool little sprint. I think that came after that. So
right,
it was good stuff. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of that.
I think Jade's going to have a couple more matches like that until the 50th, until she's going to hit 50, because people don't believe that anyone's going to beat her up to the 50, I think. And so it's going to be like that, I think.
Well, what's interesting is that I think they're going to do the Jade match on Friday. That's my theory, is that they got Battle of the Belts coming up, or the Jade and Red Velvet match. I think they're going to do Friday. That's what my gut feeling on that is, just because you got Battle of the Belts coming up, and like Jade's front and center on that poster. So obviously she's defending a belt there. I think they're going to do it Friday. If she does lose it Friday, you kind of accomplish two things, really. Which, if she were to lose the belt Friday, let's just say hypothetically she does. Thursday is the 1 year anniversary of Jade's reign, so she will have officially still been champ for 1 year. But if she loses it Friday, Sheeta's record is still protected as longest reigning AEW champion because she had it like 370 something days. She had it like hers did exceed the full year, and I don't know. I feel like that is something worth protecting. I feel like Sheeta should continue to have that record. Like if Sheeta never gets another title in AEW, she should at least be able to hold on to the idea for a while that she was the longest reigning champion AEW ever had across any title.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think she's gonna lose. So
Yeah.
I think that sounds good, but I don't think she's gonna lose. And I mean, I think there's still stuff to pay off with her reign. I don't know where the Bow Wow stuff disappeared to. I'm sure that's gonna come back up too. So I don't know.
Speaking of women's champions, do you guys want to talk about the worst thing to happen on television last night?
Hold on. Like we can't go for it. Wait.
I watched that too.
What are you talking about?
That's the precious thing on my brain right now, and I'm like,
what are you talking about? Worse? What do you mean worse?
That was god awful. God,
we saw a lot of women's championships this week because we saw Dream Queendom this weekend. What do you mean?
Last night, worst shit that ever happened. I love this person too. She's great, but that shit was terrible. How you gonna do a Money in the Bank cash in with no Money in the Bank briefcase? What the fuck is going on here? She doesn't have a briefcase.
She don't need a briefcase. She is the opportunity. What do you mean?
What? That's not how these things work. That's not how any of this works.
Charlotte Flair is the opportunity. She doesn't need a briefcase.
So anybody could just do anything, is what you're saying. I mean, if you got clout, if you got fucking wrestling clout like Charlotte, you can
listen,
be like,
man. If you're Charlotte Flair and you could come out and spread your arms out and turn around in a circle, no, bro, she is the opportunity, man. It's WrestleMania season coming up. Miss WrestleMania is back. What do you mean?
Spread your arm. She did do a lot of that spread arm out.
Come on, man.
Thing, man. She's like,
spread your wings and fly away, baby.
Okay, because I did genuinely like SmackDown last night. I think that there was some. Don't give me that look, Reg. No,
that was terrible. Terrible.
Look, I genuinely did like SmackDown last night.
You like the first part?
No, that shit is not for me. But look, it is. Again, it's not for me. All right, that is
trying to find the words.
Nah, come on, man. We're getting the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match at Royal Rumble. That is the official announcement coming down the show.
Yeah. So okay.
Are they gonna send us the blindfolds? Because I don't want to see this shit either. Like, send mine's in the mail. I'll put it on. Is this Bird Box or whatever?
They're gonna send you the blindfold.
Keep me the blindfold. I'll put the blindfold on while the match is happening. If that's what you want.
Nah. Okay, what I did like from SmackDown was, like, you know, Sheamus. I think he should be in the conversation. He was nominated in the Fightful Awards for Wrestler of the Year. I think Sheamus has had just a phenomenal run this year as a singles performer. Him and Solo, I thought, had a great match. And I think credit where it's due. I think Ronda had the best match of this run since she's been back with
Raquel.
No, as Michael Cole would say it, Raquel Rodriguez, and Rodriguez. But
Rodriguez,
she has good chemistry with Raquel. I think they had good matches across the board since Ronda's been back. I haven't been a big fan of some of the Ronda matches, but usually when they have matches, they're pretty good.
Yeah, so they were a good combination, and they worked well together. I thought it had a great finish too.
I really like the finish.
Yeah, that was a really dope finish. I mean, look, as soon as Charlotte came out, my brain went to how are they about to put the belt on her? Because
come on, man.
Charlotte has so many, like, Cena kind of has this problem too, where, you know, he's a 16-time champion, but like there's a good number of reigns in there that were just like, we threw it on him, and it was he has a few bullshit runs. Charlotte, I think, is worse. She has, you know, she won that belt at Money in the Bank 2019, and then got cashed in on immediately. So it was just another like tally.
It's Cena's last reign the time he beat AJ?
Yes, and he had it.
Oh, you know where that led? Cena winning, going on to Elimination Chamber to lose to Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt lost to Randy Orton, who lost to Jinder Mahal.
Do not bring it back around full circle, Phil. Absolutely not.
I've tried not to pick on Jinder anymore, but man,
don't hinder Jinder.
But man, does the shit keep coming up.
God, every week with this shit, man. Jinder wasn't that bad.
I mean, look,
2016.
I mean, and he just had a match with Bray. He had multiple matches with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt broke fingers in matches with Jinder this week. Because on the live event tours, I think he did like 4 matches with Bray Wyatt over this past week.
Yeah, something like that. That has to be pretty tough, breaking some fingers though. Like, these are all groups of shit. But
that tweet was really funny to me. People were like, "Oh, can we now say that this was cool?" And I was like, "Look, don't get me wrong. That championship win. I don't know if you guys know where that happened.
Yeah, it was Allstate Arena.
Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. That wasn't very funny to me as a guy that did not like Randy beating Bray, and I thought that was a waste of Bray's first world title reign. Yeah, I thought it was very funny. As somebody that had no interest in Randy as champion at all, I thought it was extremely funny. But would I say it was cool? I don't know. Let's not go that far. It was some fun, ironic things to laugh at about that reign, but let's not get too generous here, guys.
Cool is not
representation too. I think is a cool thing because there's some people on my timeline that are like, hey, like of heritage, gender, that was a big deal, what he represented, and we never want to shade like what he represented because that is cool, you know.
Man, look,
can I just
have fun
make
with
one one slight argument to that? It'd be I'm not going to take away from anybody's feeling of, look, we're being represented. But personally, I would not want to be represented as the enemy of the United States. Like, that was the issue I was having, was that, like, he was just coming out and being, like, generic foreign heel in a time where, what beef are we supposed to have with India? Like, I didn't get any of that. Like, crowds are chanting, USA, USA, at Jinder Mahal, and I'm like, why? What are you doing to...
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah,
but he did have a point when he first came out. Some of the stuff he was saying about why people were booing him was actually on point. Him saying that, you guys are only booing me because you're xenophobic and all this other stuff. All that stuff was on point. And I was like, he's not really wrong about that. And then he proceeded to cut that racist promo on Shinsuke, and all of that just went out the window.
Right. Okay, I see it.
But as far as Charlotte Flair is concerned, Charlotte Flair is the new SmackDown
14 time.
14 time.
Get her numbers right. 14 time.
She's a 14 time. And the funny thing
Women's
is
champion.
That number keeps shifting because originally they were counting the NXT women's title in that count, and then they were like, that gets her to 16 too fast. And so they were like, actually, those NXT reigns don't actually count. Even though she won the Royal Rumble and used her Royal Rumble win on the NXT title, that now doesn't count toward her world title wins. Whatever. But
just a waste of time, Charlotte. You wasted your time.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of this. Of course, I'm getting jokes off because I thought it was hilarious. I thought her celebrating in the crowd, hugging kids, and like raising her arms. And just, I thought all of that was very funny, but and it was just so.
Why did this happen, though, Phil? What happened here? Why?
It was just such a Charlotte and WWE thing to do. There's no self-awareness here. Just the thought that people wanted Charlotte back that bad, and I did want Charlotte back because that division definitely needs her. But they don't need her as champion right away.
Not like that. They don't need her like that.
And so this is WWE and the monkey paw that is WWE. We've been saying for weeks, like, man, when is Charlotte coming back? We got Charlotte back, so she's back, champion. And don't get me wrong.
And last time we saw her, she was champion, so it's not like she. But and so I was having a conversation with somebody about this yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that when Charlotte. She won the title, of course, and I feel like these moments work where all of a sudden there's an impromptu title match, and title match goes very short. New champion. We've seen that quite a few times. I get why it works, but man, has that, I think, well been run dry. If I don't see another one of those for a while, and that's why I'm so anti Money in the Bank, is I just think we've seen it way too many times. I can't believe just since 2006 how many times the record books have a sub 1 minute match that has a new champion crowned. And across like all the titles, we just saw this last year with the return of Becky Lynch on Bianca Belair. Like we've seen this kind of exact scenario a large number of times.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll at least give them credit that eventually paid off.
It did,
but with this, I guess we have to get in the timing of it. That like that report came out this week that they may be scrapping Ronda versus Becky. And so maybe they're doing something else heading into WrestleMania. I hate to admit it, it is kind of an interesting way to shake up the SmackDown's women's division, and it needed it.
Are you telling me we're getting Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania? Come on.
I don't know what we're getting, but it seems like they're shifting the plans for something. But man,
well, the interesting thing was the rumor that came out yesterday that is clearly not correct. Is that it's now going to be Rhea Ripley versus Ronda, which my brain immediately went to how, because nobody's going to cheer Ronda right now, and Rhea, like, you would be essentially torpedoing.
At WrestleMania, I think people would cheer Ronda because the WrestleMania crowd isn't the same crowd that comes all year round. That's a crowd that comes specific for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
they're going to cheer Ronda.
I don't know though. I feel like it's also a lot of travelers, and I feel like if anything, it's definitely got a lot of that kind of internet heavy crowd. And
at WrestleMania, no, I don't agree. WrestleMania is a lot of casuals in the WrestleMania crowd. They're going to cheer Ronda.
I don't know. I just don't feel like Ronda, like she's been working such a strong heel these last couple of months that I couldn't see her in that position. And then you'd also be torpedoing everything that Rhea's doing right now with Dominic that's actually working for her. And so when I heard that match announced, I thought, I don't see that. I don't see how you get there. Now, I could see a rematch, Ronda versus Charlotte. That could go the other direction.
I don't want that. But
wait. Why is that?
Why do I not want that rematch? Do you remember the WrestleMania match this year? It wasn't hidden. I thought the Backlash match was all right, but the WrestleMania
No. Sorry, did I say Ronda versus Charlotte? I meant Rhea versus Charlotte. My bad.
Oh no, Rhea versus Charlotte.
Yeah, Rhea versus Charlotte.
I'm in for that. Yeah. I think that.
Yeah,
totally
sorry. I thought I said Rhea out loud, but
that's why I was like, "What are you talking about? We don't."
Yeah, and then we said WrestleMania. Yeah, my brain kept thinking. I'm thinking I'm saying Rhea here, and then when you said WrestleMania this year, I'm like, what? No, that was WrestleMania like 3 years ago. What are you talking about? And then I'm like, oh, okay, I misspoke.
Yeah,
no,
and
I meant
they did it in front of the pandemic crowd too, right? When they did the Ronda.
Yeah.
I mean the Rhea. Now you got me saying the Rhea.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going with this. Maybe they're trying to make Shayna and Rousey tag team, and they're going to go for the tag titles. I don't know. But I think they needed to do something because Ronda's reign wasn't hidden. Like it's just no real heat around it. I don't like any of the character stuff she's doing. Like even the promo stuff she did last night when Charlotte came out was not good.
Oh God, that was awful.
Yeah. So I just think Ronda's not hidden, and I think they got to figure a way to retool Ronda and repackage her in a way before WrestleMania.
The thing that sucks is Shayna has been doing so great. Like everything that Shayna's doing is awesome, right? It's like
I hate it. I hated how Shayna got pinned the week before. I thought that was incredibly stupid.
So, like I said, though, yeah, it does feel like plans are shifting very quickly, and the Rhea versus Charlotte just kind of makes sense because now you can I feel like with all the momentum that Rhea kind of has, you could kind of position her to win the Rumble, and I think she should because
yeah. I mean, she's got a few options, and I think Charlotte is probably like the third best option out of them. Because I mean, I think all of the stare downs with Becky have been way more interesting, and I think the prospect of Rhea versus Bianca is more interesting. I don't know. I think that Charlotte versus Rhea can be good, but it's not my top option.
I would like to say
Becky. Then that they can't run Bianca and Becky again at WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
They really shouldn't. I don't know. There's suddenly options though, and things. The problem is whatever one side does, it feels like the other has to do some kind of retread, and that kind of sucks. That it's like you got a fresh option on one side, but if you do one's fresh option, you have to kind of go backwards on another one. So it's going to be an interesting WrestleMania season.
This is going to eliminate that Charlotte and Becky, because remember Phil was saying that he thinks it was going to end up Charlotte and Becky, who's the two-time winner. This is going to eliminate the Charlotte being a two-time winner thing, but she might be in it still with the belt, knowing Charlotte. She don't care about shit.
Maybe.
They did that last year. That was
right.
She entered the Rumble. That's right. That won the champion.
She could do it again.
Hey, here to play devil's advocate. Maybe they cleared that off the card and they made her champion to get her out of Rumble, so Sasha could be in a Rumble.
So let's talk. Last week I said after the Tony Khan interview I would drop a new percentage, and I did, and I said 90%. There was a certain question, shout out to Phil Lindsey, who asked the question, and I feel like the answer you got told a really interesting story. So I want to read a quick super chat here. This one is from Atlas Earth. It says, let me make sure I get the whole thing in here. But Atlas Earth said, what are y'all's thoughts that maybe Dwayne won't do Mania because of the perception of failed DCEU actor forced back into wrestling, especially if he loses to Dwayne as well? I joke, but Dwayne still likes to book himself strong. So the reason I wanted to read that one specifically is because we talk about expectation setting and managing expectations, and how AEW and WWE both know how to, and how you notice you're starting to hear rumors that Rock may not be at WrestleMania for all the stuff we've talked about. Now the word is starting to get out there that it's possible he's not there. Expectation management. That is a thing that wrestling companies know how to do. You know, to get certain things to the right people to make sure that you're starting to get the word around. Tony Khan had every opportunity there to set some expectations for people to, like, think about this. When we asked him about the new presentation of AEW in that interview, he level set, right? He's like, look, I don't like to overpromise. And that was what Phil piggybacked off of. And he's like, it's going to be a new stage. It's going to, be a new presentation. But at the end of the day, it's still the same show. And that was him setting and level setting some expectations. Phil gave him the opportunity to basically reset expectations on the tag match in LA at the Forum. And his response to it, I think, created more hype around it.
Definitely.
And so,
listen, man,
Definitely.
I just take my shots when the ball is passed to me, and I saw it opening, man, and I just saw how some other questions lined up, and I was like, that's interesting, and so, just wondering, and I think he gave us the answer that, if people didn't read between the lines with the answer, I think that there was a lot there. If people are like, oh, well, he didn't give a firm anything, that doesn't mean anything. Because I've seen people say that his answer doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean it, Sasha. It doesn't, but it does say quite a bit.
Yeah,
right.
No, because I think about certain things that if, do you remember back in 2021, before she returned to WWE, that right after Zelina Vega was released in 2020, he was asked about, the possibility of her coming in. Shut that down immediately. He's like, nah, we ain't had no contact, like nothing. And he's like, I don't think I can have any contact with her. And that pretty much gave away that she's under contract somewhere. And that was, again, expectation setting. If people were expecting Zelina Vega in AEW at that point, don't expect her, because he was straight up, I've not had any contact with her, all of that. And the fact that he's like, would behoove me to tip my hand on that one until.
and two things happened around this. Tony came back. Tony Storm came back last week, and that report came out that Thunder Rosa won't be back until February. And so I think that was purposely done to put two options on the playing field, just in case people are like, oh, well, it's just going to be Tony. Because if it was just Tony's, then you would wait to bring her back on that episode. You wouldn't bring her back before January 11th. And like I said, I firmly believe that Thunder Rosa will not be ready. I've seen people try and say it's Statlander. There's no way Statlander's going to be ready.
No.
She's told you she's not
she
cleared.
has said it. She has, again, expectation setting. Literally, all the options people keep bringing up have already set the expectation with you. It's not me. Like Chris Statlander's like, hey, not me. Thunder Rosa's like, hey, I'm not ready. Again, people are setting expectations for you, and the only person who stayed silent through all of it is Mercedes. Like, I don't understand.
And I mean, that whole thing, when they put the graphic up this week and Shivani saying, a lot of Tonys, by the way, I got to straighten up by Tonys. Shivani saying that, we're going to try and get some more news about that on next week's episode on Dynamite, which happens to be on January 4th, the day of Wrestle Kingdom.
You're gonna get information and other things. So there's a lot here. So talking about Thunder Rosa stories, right? Last week's Dynamite was in San Antonio, Texas, Thunder Rosa's hometown, the arena where she won the AEW Women's World Championship. She was at that show and didn't tape anything, and that is kind of a big tell for me, because I think being at that show, if the announcement was going to be made, that's the place to announce it, because that was literally her hometown. That was her hometown crowd. I'm told she didn't even stay. She came, said hi to everybody, and was like, all right, peace. And wasn't even there through the whole show. And so, like I said, if there was a time to make any kind of announcements, that would have been it, and they didn't. So, as far as she's concerned, I don't think it's Thunder Rosa. I keep seeing her name tossed around, and they're like, look at the silhouette, analyzing the silhouette, and they're like, look, it kind of looks like Thunder Rosa. It's not Thunder Rosa, guys. Like, if it were Thunder Rosa, there would have been times to do it. Like I said, the announcement, the time to make that announcement
is always so funny. Like, people they're not gonna give it away with this silhouette. You guys, come on.
I mean, New Japan did it earlier this year, where they were like, Jay White's got a mystery opponent, and they were like, they used Swerve's actual silhouette.
Right. Yeah.
And, I remember I looked at that and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, use a generic one. Like, nobody else looks like that. But
yeah, I mean, and look, it very well could not be Mercedes.
Yes,
it could be somebody else. For the sake of argument, but for the last 2 weeks, I've been watching the chances of it being Mercedes go up and up and up, and I don't know. It looks pretty likely at this point.
I think it's been Mercedes since day one. Since the day they announced this match, it was like, okay, you did this to get people speculating. You did this announcement to get the ball rolling on this conversation. And you know that if the conversation was going to change, if anything had changed, that it's not, again, expectation setting. Let's talk about The Rock here. And the fact that he might not be at WrestleMania this year. And that's a very real possibility. The fact that we're getting this word now is somewhat telling. The Rock mentioned back in 2018, he did an interview where he was like, as recently as February, he was still in talks to work WrestleMania 34 in 2018, where he was supposed to be Ronda Rousey's tag partner against Triple H and Stephanie. It wasn't going to be Kurt Angle originally. And that was all going to be the follow-up from WrestleMania 31, where Ronda made her first WWE appearance with The Rock, and they had that moment. They were going to have that match. He said he was in talks in February about possibly working WrestleMania, but he was like, I was in Shanghai, and it just wasn't going to work out. So that was at that point. Think about now and how here we are much earlier than February, and there's already started to become word that he might not be available for it. I can absolutely see kind of this point that Atlas Earth is making that, I think had Rock had maybe a bigger success with Black Adam, he might have considered like, oh yeah, I'll come and lose to Roman. But now it's like, nah, I got an image to protect.
Can't take another big L.
Yeah.
I mean, Black Adam wasn't a bad movie. I watched it recently because it's on HBO Max, and I thought it was decent. But I'm not sure if I believe the Black Adam stuff plays as big of a part. I think that there's never been a firm confirmation either way. And
right, WWE has never said a word about Rock, and I've always said that, like, one of the things I always pointed to was people kept asking Rock in these interviews, oh, what about Roman? And he'd play really coy about it, like, it sounds like a good idea, maybe. Like he would never be like, oh yeah, I want to face the head of the table, I want to claim exactly what the Rock.
He ain't cut no wrestling promos.
He's just been like,
I'm working, bro. Get that out of here. I'm working, man.
No, and because it's interesting. The fact that there is, at the moment, kind of for the first time in his career, like some real, almost like tangible negative buzz around The Rock. And that's like never really happened. Because like when he lost to John Cena in 2013, that was when Rock was the hottest thing in the world. Like he was the number one followed guy on Twitter, and that man was on top of the world. So him putting somebody over then was like, this is showing. Yeah, it was showing The Rock being The Rock. Putting somebody over now, I can kind of see that it wouldn't exactly be helpful to his image at the moment, in a time where he might be needing some rehabilitation. And that sucks because he's The Rock. Like The Rock. 10 years ago, that was the biggest name in the world. And I still think he's one of the biggest names in the world, but it is interesting now that he's kind of getting beat up on in the media as far as, taking a couple of L's with the DC Extended Universe.
That's dead. I mean, even if you watch Black Adam, there's so much stuff that happens in it. It's like, all right, well, not going to get a payoff to that. Yeah. I still would like to see Rock versus Roman if we can get it, but if we're just doing 2 title matches that weekend, I'm fine with that as well. I don't know. Certain guys that topped the Sports Illustrated list of the year the title match, so wouldn't be mad if he got it.
Here he goes. But could it?
Well, so the Observer reported this week that Hunter has a plan if Rock's not, a backup plan if Rock's not available. It's starting to feel like, again, putting that story out there to Dave, to me, feels like some expectation setting. They're like, hey, let's not get some hopes up now for The Rock. Let's cool our jets on that because it might not happen.
Yeah, and that might be why they slowed down the Sammy thing, because like they might have to extend it all the way to WrestleMania, because like people were expecting this Elimination Chamber Montreal payoff, but it might extend longer than that at this point if there's going to be no Dwayne.
I don't know, but I mean, we did get the Cody sighting this week, which tells me Cody will be back in time for Royal Rumble.
I think he'll be back Monday, to be honest.
Really?
I think he'll be back this week. That's my thought. I know that I don't know that for certain. What I do know is that they want to kick Raw off in 2023 with a bang. I have heard that they have a major show planned, that they want this to be like the show that sets the expectations for WrestleMania season. Yeah. And that this is supposed to be a huge episode of Raw.
No, okay. Maybe we're getting Cody coming out with his pyro like Charlotte did.
I mean, look, the Charlotte thing is funny because of the fact that, like I said, she's
shameful.
Every time I think about Charlotte now, I think about the build to the WrestleMania 35 main event coming out and doing the Charlotte Flair.
She had new music too, by the way. She had new music.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't really feeling it.
It was like we're still in that period of all the CFO's themes kind of going away. I think by the end of the year. Like Kevin Owens will have the only one left.
Oh no! Don't take Asuka's theme. No, please no.
It's gonna be weird seeing Asuka with anything else.
Nah,
Yeah.
don't take Asuka's theme. Don't take Shinsuke's theme. What are we doing?
Yeah, there's just very little left, and
I wonder what theme is Shinsuke coming out to at this Noah match. Is he coming out with the CFOs or?
Now, did you see the homie? The picture of he bought the violin.
Yeah,
so
I saw the homie Lee England Jr. is out there, so maybe that makes me think he's doing the CFO's theme.
The match hasn't happened yet. Has it happened already?
No, it's New Year's Day.
It's tonight.
New Year's Day,
Yeah. So a part of me does want him to use his New Japan theme because it's so dope. But either way.
Speaking of which, Roland sent in a super chat. Hey, Grapsody, for upcoming Wrestle Kingdom 17 for Kenny Omega, do we hear Battle Cry or will we hear Devil Sky for Kenny's return to Wrestle Kingdom?
Battle Cry.
I think maybe both. I could see them maybe doing like a Devil's Sky intro and then like kick into Battle Cry. Or maybe I don't think he does anything without Devil Sky. It's either a mix of both or just Devil Sky, but I can't see them just doing Battle Cry because I feel like he would want to pay homage to the most significant run of his career. And
I would pop pretty hard if he came out and the strings hit for Devil Sky. I would pop pretty hard for that.
I think that this is going to be really cool. I can't believe this is our last show before Wrestle Kingdom.
So I've been thinking about this because I've been wondering for the longest, why would they go with Okada versus Jay White at Wrestle Kingdom again? Because we've seen that match at Wrestle Kingdom a few times. But that was before we knew Ospreay versus Omega was on this card. And so there's two different payoffs to this because Ospreay still hasn't beat Okada. And so beating Omega, I feel like, is that next step to him going on to challenge Okada again for the title.
Right.
But at the same time, if Okada wins that belt and at the end of the night Omega comes out,
I'm saying,
fam,
are we lit? Are we on fire?
If that is the tease to Omega Okada 4 heading into Forbidden Door,
crazy.
Oh shit,
that's nuts,
bro.
That's nuts.
Because I feel like the next time they wrestle, it will be in US, and so I'm just saying, there's so many options that they could do with that. Omega being on the card changes everything for me.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, I was gonna ask you guys what match you guys most looking forward to on the card, but I feel like it's Ospreay and Omega. Like, there's nothing I'm looking forward to more than Ospreay and Omega.
I disagree. I am looking forward to the IWGP Women's Championship match, not just because it's a historic match and Kyrie and Tam are gonna have that match, but we're going to have the Mercedes sighting. And so I'm excited for everything that could turn out to be. And Stardom just had a great show this week.
And now there's word that, it's funny. It felt like when we were kind of like mentally fantasy booking Mercedes in Stardom earlier this year, that felt like a pipe dream, right? It was like, yeah, wouldn't that be kind of cool? And now it's like, nah, she might be working the show in April. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm excited about our guy Leo getting a spot on that card as well. In the junior tag match, it's gonna be a really good show. I'm very excited about Wrestle Kingdom. Man, I'm with you with the Ospreay thing, but I'm very excited to see what the women do. I'm very excited to see what this leads to for Mercedes. Again, I think Stardom killed it. I think that Shuri versus Julia this week is one of the best matches of this year. I think it's very similar to the way that Hangman had his payoff of coming in and having like this 3-year story of him eventually becoming champion, and Julia coming in 2019 and being like the heir apparent. And they've been building her up all this time to make her world champion, and we finally got that payoff this week. It was great. I thought Kyrie had a great match with Utami, which was a draw, which I don't know, man. If you think that Kyrie is just going to lose this belt right away to Mercedes. I don't think that's the case because I don't think that they would do that draw if they're not going to go back to Kyrie versus Tommy eventually. I don't know. It's a lot to be excited about.
It is. I'm excited about that women's match too because all the women's matches before have been main, pre-show matches, and to get this belt, these women, this big epic match at a Wrestle Kingdom show is gonna be amazing.
Man.
They're gonna kill it.
Tam Nakano deserves it. She's had a great year. Even though they lost this week, they being her and Natsupoi lost the Goddess of Stardom Championship. Poor Natsupoi got powerbombed through the ring. I was like, guess that's the end of that. But I don't know, man. Cosmic Angels are having a lot of issues at the moment. Mina is jumping ship and starting her own stable with Club Venus with the Whites, as I saw somebody say. But no, shout out to Mariah May as well. I think that she's a dope addition to Stardom, and Xia Brookside. I think that's a good stable. I did notice that they were speaking English, and if you know, you know. Mina is friends with Mercedes, so
this is going to be the most interesting week, I think. In like these first 2 weeks of January, I think are going to be some of the most interesting stuff, really across the board. WWE, AEW, I feel like everybody's just got some interesting times ahead, and I'm like super excited for it all. We got some humper chats. I want to read this one. Ice Cold Brandon says, thanks for the content, and I can't wait to see what y'all do in 2023. I can't either. I'm excited for 2023.
Excited, man. We definitely have some irons in the fire, some things that I am trying to accomplish. Hopefully to get that happen.
Look, the elephant in the room. We're trying to get interviews over there too, you guys. We're not just trying to be in one company. We want interviews over there too. We got a lot of people we want to talk to over there. You know where over there is.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually not that difficult. We have a little bit of a line to it. It's just a matter of who we want to get. But yeah, we'll have some Fed interviews in 2023. So yeah, everything. I am ready for it all this year. Let's see. So Phil, how Meltier doing? LOL. For real though, I feel with all that has happened to Tam, will lead to a turn on the Angels. Best moment though has to be after the match when Shuri reached out for Julia and Julia grabbing back. I almost cried. That was a moment.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna abandon Cosmic Angels, Tam. I think that I don't know where this is going for her, but this has definitely been a bad stretch of weeks for her because they did lose pretty horribly this week. I do think she's gonna lose at Wrestle Kingdom, unfortunately. I don't know where this goes for Tam, but I'm excited to see where the rest of Cosmic Angels went. Seeing Unagi in the background as Venus found new friends in tears was heartbreaking. But it was great. It was great wrestling drama. And man, can't say enough about that main event. Again, the payoff of the thing I like about Stardom is that they don't build their feuds around petty things like, oh, well, she made fun of the way I looked, or, I don't know, some goofy mean girl clique stuff that they do in WWE a lot. It's just, I want to be the best. And so that has been the thing between Julia and Shuri.
But where's the story?
Yeah, the story is that, the both of them want to be the best. And that's the thing that split them up as a tag team is that Julia has ambition to be the best and Shuri wants to be the best as well. But Shuri still sees her as a friend. It was never like, because I want to be better than you, that I don't want to see you win too. And so to see that moment at the end of the match of her reaching up and grabbing her hand and putting the belt on her was a really good moment. Really good way to end the year.
Van Twinblade says Chaz wins, LOL, and once again WWE sucks. Look, I didn't walk away from last night's SmackDown like upset about anything. Like I did think
the Chaz was great, guys.
Like, I'm annoyed that they went with another like cheap title win, and we've seen way too many of those.
Your worst nightmare, Will Washington. Fucking seconds of a title match, no build, no nothing. Like, awful.
Yeah, I know. I'm Mr. Anti-Money in the Bank. Like, this and to do Money in the Bank, like Reg said, without Money in the Bank is probably worse. But at the end of the day, I'm still like, whatever, it's fine. Like, it's not like I was.
But is that good for
see...
Charlotte that we're just like, we expect you to do some fuck shit every time you show up? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's
I mean, look, I'll say this. I liked her attire a lot. I thought the change in attire was actually really cool for her. And at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, it's not like Ronda's reign was like lighting the world on fire. It's not like that was a reign where I'm like, hey, I want to see more of this. So do I have any like real complaints? No. So it's just I'm tired of short title changes. That's the thing I don't want to see any more of. Let's see. Drew says, Happy New Year to my favorite trio. Thank you, Drew. Thank you especially to Will for getting me on my fit bod journey. I'm so excited to see the heights you'll reach in 2023. Thank you. And shout out to Fitbod, who continues to sponsor Grapsody. And Drew, I'm really proud of that, that you're getting that fitness goal going. It's tough at first, but once it becomes habit, I'll tell you that it becomes a lot simpler to maintain once it's just kind of worked into your daily routine. I'll say, looking at old Grapsodies and old other podcasts, I wasn't happy with myself. And again, me and T talked about this on Day After Dynamite this week, that, I'm all about body positivity, but it is one of those things where body positivity has to come with the positivity part of it. And that if you're not happy with yourself, then you got to make some changes. And it's okay to make some changes when you're not happy. And whatever that change may be, whether it's a change in attitude, lifestyle, whatever it is, but to get yourself to a place where you're happy with yourself. I was happy with myself for a number of reasons, one of which was that my doctor was like, hey, you're like headed toward diabetes. And I was like, okay, not because I have a family history of it. So, because I know people are like, you didn't get that big, Will. And I'm like, I know, but I do have family history and it's a thing that I needed to get under control. And I have a follow-up visit in like 3 weeks, and hopefully they tell me I did get it under control and not actually you reached the point of no return. Sorry. But we'll find out. So either way, 2023, like, I know people make fun of New Year's resolutions a lot because they're like, it's just some shit you're not going to keep. Doesn't matter. There's no harm in making an attempt to start over. And if
And you kept your New Year's resolution for the whole year, didn't you, Will Washington?
I mean, I started this on my birthday, right? Or I started this the month before my birthday.
No, I'm talking about the other New Year's resolution.
Oh, the that New Year's resolution. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, I did. I made a really silly New Year's resolution. If people are wondering why there's so many like trolls and shit in my replies on my posts, the reason for that was because I made a New Year's resolution. This is the dumbest New Year's resolution anybody could ever make, and I do not recommend. 0 out of 10. That's my review. And that is, I decided I will not block a single person in 2022.
That is crazy.
That I was going to go the whole year, basically keeping it all open. No blocks. None.
And you've gained like 7,000 followers or something. That can't be good for anybody.
Nah, man, I need my block button, buddy. I need my.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was a really, really dumb idea, and I didn't block anybody this year. I literally, my replies have just been full of trolls and whatnot. Like, I have muted a lot of people. My mute list is really long. Got a lot of mutes going, and I also, if I feel like a reply is gonna basically be annoying, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hide this reply. But I haven't blocked anybody. Nobody is. I cleared my block list too, so that was the first thing I did. Cleared the block list, and then I was like, fresh start. Let's see how 2022 goes with not blocking anybody for the entire year.
Man. New Year's Day, you gonna hit the Soldier Boy on these boys. Hop up out the bed, put my block on.
Take a look
Yep.
in the mirror, say what's up.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing was, in 2021, I obviously blocked a lot of people. I blocked people for years on Twitter. But the one thing I always notice is they get satisfaction out of that. They're like, yeah, I got him. He blocked me. And I'm
Who
like,
cares? I really don't care. Enjoy it. Stay over there.
yeah.
Nah,
So I was like,
man,
you know what? Not giving anybody the satisfaction. Nobody gets to me this year. And the thing is, like, nobody's gotten to me. I got into a little bit of because people keep seeing Bill Batty coming at me in my fucking comments. Look, we got into it briefly in the DMs, and the reason I say briefly is because the only response I continue to give this man is I don't give a shit about any of that, and and he's like, look at me, I'm friends with this guy, and I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck about any of that.
Don't care.
Congrats. I was like, I don't give a shit.
Man,
and that continues to be my response is, sure, enjoy.
Man,
I don't give a fuck, dude.
I know that there are some religious people out there, and we have a new year coming. And I would just like to say, Lord, bless my man's block finger and keep it strong for next year so that these people know their place and stay out of grown folks' conversations.
Straight up.
Yeah, it's been a time. Let's see. Let's continue on with reading some more super chats. Tim Gordon says, happy Saturday and happy New Year, y'all. Excited to be going to my first live show on Wednesday. Oh, are you going to the Wednesday Dynamite? If so, that's exciting. You get to see the new set in person. They've sold a lot of tickets for that Seattle show, and you've got 3 hometown guys who are getting the focus. Brian, who's taking out Tony Nese. I know that's not my ideal match for Brian in his hometown either, but I brought up on Twitter this week that it kind of reminds me.
Don't hate on Tony Nese.
I like Tony Nese. I think he's a great talent, but like, you got fucking Bryan Danielson, the greatest wrestler of our generation, in his hometown, big spot. Like, come on.
Nah,
I mean,
man.
I like Tony Nese a lot. This is not.
Word
Tony
is
Nese.
that he wanted to work Tony Nese.
Man. He likes cruiserweight guys.
I know him.
Come on,
I know he had a lot to do with it.
Come on, man.
He's like, I want to put somebody over on Bryan Danielson, and that's what we love about him.
Brian, come on, man. Brian is about to get those Tony Nese on Wednesday. Come on, get out of here.
but I also I looked at it kind of reminiscent of I remember we had the same conversation a year and some change ago when AEW was returning to Chicago and it's going to be CM Punk, his first match on Dynamite in Chicago, and they announced his opponent was QT Marshall, and everybody went, whoa.
QT Marshall.
And it was like, what? Wait, that wasn't what we want.
Wait, that was the match before the Max promo, right? Or after the Max promo?
After the Max promo. And I thought about it and I said, this is kind of the same deal because they also have announced that MJF is going to be in Seattle. And that tells me that we're probably getting a Brian MJF segment, and that's probably the more important thing here, and that Brian is just going to get his shit off in a match with Tony Nese. And so
I hate it, but okay, I understand.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go. And I think Tony Nese is going to give him a great match because I think Tony Nese is kind of underrated. I don't know. I'm excited for whatever Brian does. I trust this man's judgment at this point. If he thinks he can go out there and have a great match with Tony, I believe he can.
Brian Danielson,
I think he will have it. Like I said, I don't doubt the match whatsoever. Like I said, it was just more so Brian in Seattle. My thought was, all right, do something big. You're gonna have Brian's loudest crowd that's ever been behind Brian. So give him,
But Brian just doesn't care, though. You know what I mean? Like, we just know that he's like, I just want to wrestle, dude. I don't care about any of that. I don't want to be champion. I don't want nothing. I just want to work.
Are we potentially getting any New Japan guys? I know that was a rumor at one point.
That was a rumor, but everybody's there. It's literally a show that's just going to be focused around the Seattle guys. The 3 main guys that are getting the focus on the show are Swerve, who's got a match with AR Fox, Brian Danielson, who's got a match with Tony Nese, and then Darby Allin is really the focus. And that's interesting because he's the most homegrown guy that they've got there. And he's getting the focus when he... I think he's winning the title. I think
You think Darby's going over?
Oh, for sure. I actually have almost no doubt that he's winning the TNT title back. And
I would think he's going over too if I had to guess.
I think that's cool. I've been enjoying everything Joe's doing. And I think if anybody can make him look good, I think Joe's gonna make him look great in that win. So I'm excited for that.
I mean, that match from a couple of
last
weeks
time
ago
was really
pretty
good.
fire. Yeah, so I can expect
Yeah,
Darby
I think
with the Seattle mind state going in here. Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I feel like the pep talk from Sting like what kind of sealed it for me. I'm pretty sure Darby's winning, and then when I saw that pep talk he got, I'm like, okay, that's where this is going.
But King of Television Samoa Joe has been on fire.
He has been. This has been the best run of Joe's career. But at the same time, also as we've been told, Ring of Honor TV is starting back up in January, and so. Joe being the TV champion, if anything, I imagine is probably going to kind of keep focus there, and then at that point,
I mean, speaking of Joe, I guess we have to talk about how Wardlow lost this week because I didn't expect him to lose as clean as he did. And then my man got him up out of here. He chopped his ponytail off and was like, "Nah, fuck out of here."
Chopped his man bun off.
It is interesting thinking about where Wardlow was at the beginning of the year and how hot he was and where he is now. I think some of the cool down is I don't want to say it's the booking, but I think that he looked great in the chase, but once he got the title, he cooled down pretty quick. And I don't know, Joe has just been so great that it's just like every time Joe is on TV, I'm like, I want Joe to keep this title. I don't want him to lose.
I think the appeal of the TNT title, I can put it on booking because I'll say this: the appeal of the TNT title is a title that you're going to get frequent defenses out of, which was a thing Reg talked about earlier this year when people were like, man, the TNT title's changed hands a lot, and Reg brought up the point, and I love that point because I see it a lot now of, if a title is defended more, it's going to change hands more. That's just the statistical likelihood of having a match with frequent defenses. If it's defended less, then you're going to see less changes. That makes sense to me. And so I think the thing that Wardlow's reign was missing was that kind of like frequency of title defenses, that it was missing that appeal. The way that, Cody really got the belt established with doing the weekly open challenges, that kind of shit got people into it, got people into the title.
I mean, Joe's doing it right now. Joe's defending it almost every week and bringing prestige to it. It's like, why didn't you do that with Wardlow? I don't really understand.
Well, I would say, do you think that concept works with Wardlow? Because the appeal of the Wardlow match is him just squashing guys. And
right.
I don't think that you can have competitive TV matches like that with Wardlow. I don't know if it works.
Well, and that's the thing.
That might be the detriment to him. I think that might be the whole detriment is you can't ride that fucking squash match thing out forever. Eventually, you got to do something else. And then I think it's like we see him do he starts to do like the Jeff Hardy thing. And then it's just like, well, what role is he filling? I think is where I land with Wardlow.
Because people said the best Wardlow title defense, and I agree with this, was Brian Cage, right? Like that's the kind of stuff I think people wanted to see out of Wardlow was like, hey, now that we know we're past the squashing, let's see what Wardlow does in a situation where he's matched up with somebody at his level. And it turned out really great. The problem is there's not a whole lot of that. And I think he should have been booked more in a position to be able to have that frequency of matches more. Because like I said this on Day After Dynamite this week, I know that it's more out of respect for what he accomplished and the time he passed that they consider Brody to be the greatest TNT champion. But I think just looking at it statistically, I think Darby is the best TNT champion. I think Darby had that run of just like defense after defense after defense. And, he went in there, he had a match with Jungle Boy. It was excellent. He had the matches with Scorpio Sky. Excellent. And Darby was just having these kind of killer title defenses really until he met the wall that stopped him, which was Miro. But I think that Darby kind of proved that you can have that type of run with the belt, and it gets people excited. People want to see that because really it should be the heels that turn around and go, and we've seen it multiple times, right? We saw, Brody was the first to do it. He won the TNT title, and then he's like, you want open challenges? Too bad. I'm holding on to the belt. You don't get an open challenge.
No more indie talent getting their screen time.
Yeah.
I've been ready, man. I am just going to say blasphemy to you. Darby was a great champion, but Cody is the best TNT champion. I don't agree.
I mean, like I said, Cody did a great job getting it established. But I think that those matches that Darby was having, like I still think Darby versus Jungle Boy was just an incredible killer match that had no reason to be as good as it was, other than the fact that these are both two good technical guys that...
Come on, man. Cody gave y'all a 5-star classic on the way out as TNT champion. He introduced the world to Ricky Stark. He brought us Eddie Kingston. Give Cody Luther King his credit.
Here you go. Here you go.
Okay. Like, no, Cody, I think, is probably pound for pound the best TNT champion. But I think my favorite reign, just because that happened over multiple reigns, but my favorite single reign is Darby still. But I agree with you that Cody, over his 3 reigns, did a lot with the belt. That's fair. Because the Orange Cassidy defenses were during Cody's 2nd reign, and then the 3rd reign had the ladder match.
Yeah, Darby's eventual win matters because what Cody did for him in the initial reign.
Yes, that is very true as well. Yeah, Darby, that's a great win too. My God, the way he got that pin was easily one of. That's a phenomenal moment. But no, I do think in Seattle, Darby's going to win at. That's just the way I see it. I know Tony's not like big on screwing people over in their hometowns. If anything, he likes giving people like
Yeah. I mean, I could be just that I miss Cody on TV, and that could be part of why they brought up, because we do need the King of the South back on TV, man.
No, as a matter of fact, though, I actually like that Tony's thing is to give people their flowers in their hometown, because it made moments like MJF beating CM Punk in Chicago matter more, because we were so used to the idea that now when you're in your hometown in AEW, you win. And then MJF is like, nope, I beat CM Punk. Suck my dick. And it was like...
It worked.
Like that. And it worked, right? People were mad, and it clicked because that was not a thing people were used to in AEW. It wasn't kind of that thing of like, oh, you're in your hometown, you know you're gonna lose. Nah,
I wasn't there at that show, Max. So yeah, I was at home. Nah, it was snowing outside. I wasn't going to watch you beat my guy.
Damn.
Go figure too. Phil wasn't at that show, and that was the one.
Yep.
But that was a night, right? That was the night we saw the Pepsi plunge. Like, that was a
great match.
Yeah, great match. That was great shit.
Oh man, I for some of the stuff that I've written for Bleach Report for the end of the year, I rewatched a lot of that Punk and MJF stuff. Best feud of the year by far, man. Those promos were so good. All of the segments leading up to it, the entrance at Revolution, the match itself at Revolution. Best feud of the year.
Yeah, talking to Denise yesterday, I got myself a little bit sad thinking about MJF's return and what we were kind of in store for. Thinking about when MJF came back and he showed us the Ring of Honor clips of Punk, and like that feud didn't end. Like, we still have a little more to go. I will tell you, at a fantasy book this yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it for those who don't watch After the Week. You should be watching After the Week. Really trying to get that show up there. I work hard on that show, just like I work hard on this show. I want my shows doing well. So I said yesterday, though, that my fantasy booking idea for bringing back CM Punk, if CM Punk were to ever return, because we got to talk about the Dax stuff. But if CM Punk were to return, I'd redo the ending to All Out, except with Punk. Basically, like, MJF retains the title. Hell, I said do it at UBS Arena on Long Island, of have MJF have like a big title defense. He retains the title in his hometown. He's celebrating, and then lights go out. They play like a voicemail from Tony. And he's like, Punk, we need you to come back. And then you see the back of Punk's head, and he makes his way out. And MJF's hometown has the crowd chanting CM Punk at him.
What they should totally do with that is if they keep it on the screen and it's just his back turned and we don't know who it is, and he turns around and he goes, "I am a devil." Takes a big bite of a muffin. That would be amazing.
Yes.
Like if I were that's how I would do it. Yeah, basically redo the All Out ending, only have Punk, because like no matter what, I know everybody's like, you know, when CM Punk comes back, if CM Punk comes back, if that ever were to happen, he's got to have a feud with the Elite. I disagree. I think that honestly, I don't think the MJF story is over, and I think that that's kind of the biggest thing that we left on the table is that they're 1-1. And they have never completed the story.
We gotta see that match again, man. We gotta get that third match at this point, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Mendes. Get my guy back on TV.
Seriously.
Yeah, I really want that third match. Another guy that works hard all day, all night, like Will Washington, and wants to see Punk back on TV. Debuted his podcast this weekend. He was doing a lot of talking.
He was on there.
Yeah, yeah, Dax. Let's talk, Mr. Harwood, because he pissed a lot of people off. But he said a lot of things that a lot of people agree. Well, yeah. So there are the things he said that pissed people off. We'll start with that, and then we'll get into the good stuff. So he talked about his boy Jim Cornette, and he explained why he doesn't have a big problem with Jim Cornette, and he gave a little bit of a defense for Jim Cornette. I'll tell you, Dax, where I think a lot of that is what you're missing on why people are upset about what he had to say about Jim Cornette. Let me see if I can articulate this well. So what he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that, yeah, Jim says a lot of stuff that I don't personally agree with. And he says a lot of stuff that really rubs me the wrong way too. But, you know, Jim has done it all in this business, and he has, you know, a lot of knowledge to impart. He has a lot to give. And I know that, you know, when he critiques me, and he doesn't, by the way, but when he critiques me, I know that he's not critiquing David Harwood, the father, the man, the husband. He's critiquing Dax Harwood, the professional wrestler. And if he says that, you know, I can improve this, you know, I think
that's
I should listen to that.
That's also a lie too.
Well, so that's where I'm going with this. That I think that's a very easy thing to say when you are white man from the South, because that's Jim Cornette's favorite.
And a tag team, a white man and a tag team. Like, come on, dude. That does an old school
gimmick. That also gives it up to the tag teams that Cornette likes.
Yeah, come on.
Like, but all of that is really easy to say. But like when... So you mentioned he's coming after Dax the Performer, and Dax the Performer is something that can obviously be changed, something that can be upgraded, all of those things. But, you know, he's not coming after Dax the husband and father. But what about when he talks about Kenny? He doesn't talk about Kenny as a performer. He does too, but he also talks about Kenny.
Calling them twinkle toes and all of that.
Twinkle toes, yeah. And also when he talks about Japanese people, and he just hates Japanese wrestlers. That's not necessarily a thing that you're not critiquing a performer at that point. They can't just suddenly go out there and be less Japanese. Like, right. That's the stuff where people were looking at it like, nah, when he says the shit he says about women, when he says the shit he says, and they're like, what? I saw people go, well, he's come around on Bianca Belair. But like his initial reaction to Bianca Belair was, look at her. She doesn't look like somebody I would want to have on my TV. And then eventually he came around on her because obviously she's one of the best performers of all time. But the fact that his initial reaction to her was, whoa, look at that attitude, the music. I don't like none of that. And the way he talks about the New Day, the way he calls them clowns, like things along those lines, like the way he talks about people, he comes at them in a very personal way, in a way where he talks about people's race, he talks about people's ethnicity, he talks about people's backgrounds,
talks about people's physiques, like all kinds of stuff.
Like, these aren't necessarily things that he's just talking about the performer on. Those are all things that they all have a right to take personally. The fact that he talks about the way Aubrey looked, he talks about her face, like all of that stuff. That's not stuff that people have the ability to do anything about. And so, like, that's not I can just change my ethnicity because Jim Cornette says that, American viewers don't want Japanese wrestlers. Like, that's not the way that works. And so I think it was a misguided thing to basically come to a defense on and be like, well, you guys should listen to Jim Cornette because he has a lot to offer, and just kind of ignore the other stuff he says. No, the other stuff he says is fucking awful. And it's really hard to just like sift through that stuff because that other stuff is bad and shit sucks. And I know people who they don't care necessarily that it's coming from Jim. That doesn't matter because he's just, to them, old guy with a podcast who obviously has accomplished a lot in the business, but at the end of the day, irrelevant today. But the part they are annoyed by, and I've talked to at least 4 wrestlers about this. They said the part that gets them is more so that he has a base, and that base is who he's now encouraging to say the kind of shit to them that as soon as they hear it, they know where it came from. They'll hear something and they'll go, huh. That's something that...
And it's permeated into AEW crowds. You see people with like Cornette signs and stuff at the shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
there was a guy who brought a lazy booking sign to Dynamite this week. He was in camera view the whole time. And I just thought, why would you even buy a ticket to something you hate? Get the fuck out of here. Like,
and I mean, look.
Like, you sure showed them that I...
and look, that's fans' prerogative to do whatever they want and to like whoever's takes they want, like the kind of wrestling they like. But I just don't think you got to get into, some of the stuff that he does. And I feel like some of it is a little too personal. And that's just my thoughts on it. I did think that it was funny that he did all of that, and then like the Meltzer quote that came out and his thoughts about the 5-star, and
which is so weird.
Meltzer coming back and being saucy and going, but that narrative has propped you up as one of the best wrestlers of the year, and said that you've had some of the best matches of the year, and I was like, kind of have the point.
No, for real. Yeah, no, for real. He's like, what? I talk nice about you like almost every issue. I don't know why you would come at me like this. Like, I'm giving it up.
I could see if it was somebody else that, he doesn't, which by the way, Melt, I just don't agree with you. Shuri versus Julia was a 5-star match. I mean, that's your opinion, but it was a 5-star match.
Mm-hmm. He's never given a women's match 5-star. Yes, he has. Yeah,
yes. He's given Shuri a 5-star match.
Yeah, he has given. That was my correction there. When I realized he hasn't given an American women's match 5 stars, but he has given Japanese women's matches 5 stars. That is correct. But yeah, the things that also made some headlines out of Dax's podcast was that he said, "I want everybody to get along. Like, I want not to get along, but to work together. Obviously, not everybody's going to get along."
Why can't we be friends?
Yeah.
Can't we be friends?
That was good, Phil. No, but more so, not so much that everybody needs to get along, but that at this point, if we work together, like, it's better for everything. He was like, the AEW locker room is better for having the Young Bucks in it. The AEW locker room is better for having CM Punk in it. And that we just kind of need all these guys together. Like, this is...
He gave quite the rundown of things Punk has done behind the scenes that counteracts the narrative that he is a locker room cancer. And it was interesting. I think his perspective on Punk... of course, is slighted because he's his friend. But I do think that some of the stuff he said is fair. I do think that some people do have this idea about Punk following all out, that he was just back there causing all his problems and that he wasn't enjoying his time with AEW. And I don't think that was the case. I do think he enjoyed working with AEW, and I think if he had the chance, he would like to come back.
I think Punk proved that this week, by the way.
Yeah. So I think all of that was fair, but the thing that I laughed the hardest at was the Colt point, and him saying, "Yeah, I didn't like how Colt was talking about my accent. I thought that was hilarious." I was like, "Yo." So because CM Punk has very, very much declared that he don't want nothing to do with this Colt guy, he was just like, "Yeah," and he made fun of my accent. It was like,
Right. He's
Okay.
like, I have to find a reason to hate this person. My friend doesn't like this. My friend doesn't like this guy, so I have to find.
and
a
I
reason to hate
mean, that may or may not be why he said that, but it was very funny. I was just like, all right, okay,
And the points of him saying that Punk never wanted to be world champion and that he just wanted to. He was just kind of in the Bryan Danielson thing of like, I just want to be here helping young people out, putting people over. But his hand was forced essentially, and that's why all the stuff happened. A lot of interesting things to come out that podcast.
And I can't believe that. I can believe that he didn't want to be champion, and that for business sake, it did make sense to make him champion.
Right.
But it does paint a very rosy picture of CM Punk, and I can see where people would be like, "All right, the guy got 2 title reigns. You're telling me he didn't want neither one of those? Like, come on."
You're giving me the title again, man. Oh, come on.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But then, Wrestling Observer this week, story came out that Chris Jericho had informed the locker
Friend of the
room.
show, Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho had informed the locker room that, as long as he's there, he's making sure CM Punk never comes back. So it's interesting. Punk's Instagram reply to that story seems to make it sound like, yo, Punk, yeah, he's ready to come back, make amends.
Let's work together.
Kill that shit. Let's work together. I don't know where everybody stands on these things. I know that there's a couple of people in the locker room I've talked to that have just been like, I want to work, and I want to work in the best environment that the AEW can have. And right now, we have one of the best environments we've ever had, and that there's this push to just keep putting on the best shows we can. But on the other hand, they know that there was a buzz around having CM Punk around, and that also created a really fun environment as far as the show is concerned. And so they're just like, look, if he comes back, cool. I will continue to do what I do best. And I haven't really encountered a whole lot of an attitude that's like, nah, fuck that guy. But that attitude does exist. That attitude does exist.
Jericho's waiting at the front of the fucking arena for him to come. You're not getting past me, bucko. I told him you're staying out of here, and I'm going to keep you out. It's like, bro, move out of the way.
I mean, obviously, when he comes back, he's got work to do to, gain people's trust again. That's not just, the locker room. That's some fans.
Yeah,
totally. I think some fans are very much not on the Punk train anymore. I don't know. Of course, I would love to see him come back. If it's an untenable situation, it's an untenable situation. I mean, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But again, if you're asking me, CM Punk fan in Chicago, and do I want this guy back in AEW? Of course I want him back. But if it's just not going to happen, it's just not going to happen. I think the Jericho stuff is interesting because it's just kind of funny that he's positioned himself in the middle of all of this when it really had nothing to do with him. It's like it had nothing to do with him.
He put the cape right on.
It's not like Punk got into it with him. It's not like he had anything specifically with the guy. He just has positioned himself as this guy that is just like, nah, I am personally going to get this guy out of here. And that's, of course, if the report is true. But I just think all of it is amusing.
I mean, Jericho had, I guess, credit where it's due. Jericho had to play a couple of roles there, right? Because Jericho was backstage when all that happened, and Jericho had to then come talk to all of us and the media while keeping a straight face about what literally just happened 5 minutes ago, and basically redirect an entire media scrum. And so I get why Jericho is a little annoyed of like, hey, I've been the guy who's been steering the AEW ship since day one, and I had to again, redirect things after you screwed it up. So fuck CM Punk.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean,
I'm just saying that's probably how he feels. It's not to say I agree with it. But
sure, but
it's just a locker room later shit. He's just trying to play. He's just trying to be like, I'm that guy.
Mox is that guy. Mox is the face of the company. Let's just call it what it is. And if anybody, I think at this point is like the spiritual leader of that company, it's Jon Moxley.
Well, Jon Moxley doesn't talk to Dave Meltzer for scoops.
Yes, he does. Like that's the thing is Jon Moxley's open about it, right? Like Jon Moxley has been like, yeah, I reached out to Dave and told him this and this, and like Moxley is like straight up open about it, and Dave Meltzer's open about that. He said, yeah, I heard from Jon this week that this is what's going on, and it's been fairly clear. Like Jon Moxley has straight up reached out to Dave Meltzer and been on Observer Live like multiple times. He's reached out to Brian Alvarez. He talks to Brian Alvarez. Jon Moxley has no problem, but he's fairly open about who he's in contact with, and that's that's the thing. Albert, by the way, let's read a couple more of these chats because we got a lot of them, and I want to get caught up on these. So we're going to spend the next few minutes chatting, shall we? Albert Pont says, Charlotte winning proves SmackDown's women's division is a mess. With no draft anytime soon, are we in for more six-pack challenges to feed Charlotte talent?
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, we knew the division was a mess with or without her. I do think bringing her back obviously automatically gives that division a boost that it didn't have before.
I will say that I had assumed up to this point that Bianca would remain champion until WrestleMania. This makes me think that she'll lose the title before then.
Think so?
I do. I would not be surprised if Bianca ends up challenging Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Lord Jackson says, looking forward to January 11th. Britt, Jamie, and Saraya in the ring. Lights out. Excitement reaches fever pitch. Dramatic pause. Here comes the Monet. Here comes the Monet. Monet.
Yo, if Sasha comes out doing that,
hilarious. Here comes the Monet.
Yo, straight up, if Mercedes runs out there and starts doing the Shane punches and yo, oh my God,
ching ching, bling bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking Monet, then the talking don't matter.
That's good. Good shit. Good shit. Y'all are funny out there, man. Y'all be coming up with some funny shit.
Church pastor says, blessings, brothers, for an even greater 2023. Your voices definitely are changing pro wrestling. Thank you.
Appreciate
you. King of the North says, Kenny, Goat Mega, and the Young Goats with another masterclass Wednesday. Rikishi's sons could never.
I mean, the facts are just the facts. It's just how it's laid out. This is just how life goes and what it is. Them young boys could never. They're over there doing their same old thing with the goddamn Brawling Brutes. I'm saying the same old thing after my favorite tag team is in a best of 7 match because I'm a big hypocrite, baby. I want to see it 7 more times. Fuck y'all. Young Bucks.
No, I mean, I will say being there live for the for that Falls Count Anywhere match was
that was hot.
Was an experience. The crowd was really hot. That crowd was hot pretty much. They were getting restless because they started Elevation early. Like Elevation started at like 4:40, and so we got like an hour and 20 minutes of AEW Dark Elevation. And I got my picture with Sheeta, by the way. She was the first one out there, and I happened to be like in the same spot where the first picture I ever took with her was. And she came by, she saw the shirt, she was like, hey, and came over and took a picture with me. So that was cool.
How was the you never told us about Vada's experience out there? Did she have a pretty good time?
Yeah, Veda had. So I posted the pictures that Veda took. I had her send them to me because this was Veda's first event with her own phone. She's had her own phone. She got it for her birthday this year, and so she's got a little bit of confidence in her, and that she just was walking up to people, just asking like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" And so, I said thank you, and I appreciate like everybody who took pictures with her, because I wasn't around for a lot of them. I was getting us
just
checked.
Letting your daughter roam and take pictures. What's going on?
So I was getting checked. I was getting checked into the hotel, and so I'm
Trying to
standing
get
there
some
and
scoops.
no, so I was standing in line, getting checked into the hotel, and I was like filling out all the stuff, signing, blah blah, checking into hotels, and I was having trouble with the card reader, and Kip Sabian made a joke at my expense. He was like, "Look, at reporters not able, or journalists not able to get their, not able to work the card machines," and I was just like, "Not a journalist. They have accountability. I don't." That's. And look, I mean, that's and we joked. I like Kip Sabian. He's a really cool guy.
Good guy.
Yeah, we met Kip at Revolution backstage at the concert. But yeah, so Veda just like walks over to the group where they're all standing around talking, and she comes back and she's like, "Yep, just got a picture with Penelope Ford," and I was like, "Oh, that was cool. Yeah, good for you." And So it was blizzarding out, right? And we could not find food. Everything was closing up early, and we found an open Dave & Buster's. And so we get in the car, we go to Dave & Buster's, and Nyla Rose is there. And Nyla's just like, hey, they just announced they're closing the bar or closing the kitchen early because of the weather, and everybody's leaving at like 11. And I'm like, damn. And sure enough, she was right. Couldn't get any food. And so I was like, all right, come on, kids, we'll go find something else. And Veda starts to walk with us. She's like, hold on 1 second, like runs back. And then she comes back. She's like, cool, I got a selfie with Nyla.
Why did I just picture you guys walking in and Nyla's just playing skee ball? Like, no, they're not.
Nah, you can't get in there.
And so, I wasn't going to make my kids or my wife walk through the snow. And so when we were leaving the hotel to even go to Dave & Buster's, I was like, I'll go grab the car. I'll pull it around. I have my boots. And so I was like, I'll pull around. And so I go out and get in the car, and it probably took me like 3 or 4 minutes. And when I pull back around, Veda just like, hey, I just got a selfie with Jade Cargill. And
She out there cooking.
yeah, and so I was like, "Oh, cool, right?"
She's definitely cooking. I'm trying to get a selfie with Jade. What's up?
Yeah,
Straight up.
I did text Jade. I texted her, thank you, because like that was really cool. I actually didn't see her the whole time, and I was like, just thank you for taking a picture with my kid, and I really appreciated that. Like that, all of this kind of made her day because. She did all this on her own. Like I know people probably think that I'm like coming up to wrestling and being like, hey, can you take a picture with my kid? No, my kid was just confident enough. Like she got my kid. There's others too. My kids both of them went up to Orange Cassidy and were just like, hey, can we get a picture with you? And they took a picture with Orange Cassidy, took a picture with John Silver. Yeah. Billy got his Dark Order members mixed up and accidentally called Alex Reynolds, Alan Angels, and Alex Reynolds.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can see the look on his face, and he's just
Alan ain't here no more.
No,
yeah.
he gone.
And he's like, damn. He's like, of all people, had to be him, huh?
Damn.
But Alex Reynolds is really kind though, and he still took a picture with Billy because Billy felt really bad. You could see the look on Billy's face of like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that.
Alex just sitting there like, nah, I got nice flowing hair. What are you talking about, man?
Hey, so did wait. First off, after they got all that money, the Allen Angels had flowing hair. You don't remember the BTE bit where they after they won Matt Hardy's money and they all spent it on various things, and and Alan Angel spent his on flowing locks.
Yeah. Shout out to Orange Cassidy, by the way.
Yeah,
that guy is, man.
He's cooking right now. I think he's having the best run of his career right now.
I think we've taken this guy for granted. I think people that just try to turn him into a joke wrestler, this guy is working, bro. That match last night was great.
Yes.
He hasn't been that comedy guy for so long. I don't even know why people are still running with this narrative.
That's the picture he took with my kids, by the way.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but again, they all just walked up and just Veda was very confident, and that was her first experience at a wrestling show with her own phone and just getting to talk to everybody she wanted to talk to. And I was really proud of her for having the confidence to do all that. Albert Ponce asks, Will, what is your Sasha percentage at the moment? By the way, discovered you cats this year. Thanks for keeping it 100. I feel she will help AEW immensely. Will this lead to tag belts? Funny you said that, because I was thinking about something. We've got there's a few people. I was thinking about the fact that we've got this Willow and Ruby tandem at the moment. It's actually kind of a functioning tandem. I actually like the idea of Ruby being the kind of straight face. I compared it to Wednesday and what's the other girl's name? God, why am I drawing a blank on the cast of Wednesday? Because I just Enid, Wednesday and Enid. There's two characters from the TV show Wednesday, but Wednesday being the straight character who obviously sarcastic and very antisocial, and then you have Enid, who's very bubbly and happy-go-lucky, and you would think that these two are gonna clash and be enemies, but it turns out they kind of need each other to balance each other out, and that Wednesday gave Enid a little bit of a more realistic outlook on the world, but Enid taught Wednesday to kind of give the world a chance. And they were a good combo. And when I made that comparison at Dynamite, and the person behind me goes, "Yeah, Wednesday and Enid. I see it now. I see what Ruby and Willow can be for each other." And so that's one combo. We also have the longtime tag teams, almost 3 years out of both of these teams, but or at least 3 years out of one of them. But Ty Mello and Anna Jay have been together since the Deadly Draw in 2020. We also have the team of Penelope Ford and the Bunny still aligned. And it does, for the moment, feel like, you know what, you might actually start to have kind of the makings for a division. Hell, I even like the fact that Red Velvet stood up for her friend in Kiera Hogan. And I'm like, you could do something with that too. You actually do have a team you could run with. As far as my percentage is concerned, I said it's still at 90. I'll give a new percentage update. You know, it's funny. I have a hunch that tomorrow Sasha will be removed from the WWE roster. And at that point, I think we could start adjusting some percentages. Denise was like, fuck you not going all the way. I'm going 99.9%. I'm done. I'm in.
That's not all the way. All the way is 100%.
100%.
I don't know. Room for error, I guess. But it is feeling like no one's denying anything. No one's like, it's not. The only people who are saying it's not are really
people that are coping.
Yeah, that's really it. It's like people.
It is. It's people that are coping.
No, and I get it because it's people trying to expectation set. I fully get that. Shanika says, Happy New Year, y'all. Looking forward to everything you do over the next year. Celebrating New Year's Eve and my birthday today. Happy birthday, Shanika.
Ooh, happy birthday, Shanika.
And watching Wrestle Kingdom live for the first time ever this week. Excited to see what happens.
Oh, you are in for a treat. Wrestle Kingdom.
Drink some coffee right now, girl. You better take a nap right now for your birthday. You better get ready because it's
look,
late.
Man. I think some people think because some people that are like new to following me are like I am a super AEW guy or anti WW guy, which is neither true. For the longest time, my favorite company was New Japan, and so I get excited for Wrestle Kingdom every year. Even if I don't watch every show, I always watch Wrestle Kingdom. I always watch it live. It's just, I don't know. It is a January tradition for me. It's right up there with Royal Rumble.
Now, staying up late to watch Kenny and Okada that one time was like an experience that it's crazy. So
yeah. Ferthausen says, if Red Velvet wins the TBS title, I wouldn't mind. I would like to see that.
I wouldn't mind it.
Hold on, I gotta. I just have to screen cap one quick comment for different reasons. But we got this one from Joe. It says, "Thank you for a great year. You guys rule. And this is something I look forward to listening to every week. Is Velvet the one to dethrone Jade?" I don't know, but I feel like that would be a good story and a good thing for kind of bringing things full circle. I think that would be really cool.
She's on the short list of people for sure.
Yes. And also, speaking of short, because she also, compared to Jade, is so much significantly shorter. It's insane. Let's see. We got another one. This one's from Haley. It says, "What are some of your dream matches for the women's division in 2023?" Either women's division. I'm sure we're talking across the board.
I mean, I've been campaigning for Asuka Io for as long as I can campaign. I feel like this is the year to do it. I feel like it should happen at a big pay-per-view, like SummerSlam or something like that. Just because, to my knowledge, they've never had a one-on-one match. They've had tag matches together. They've been in a ring together, but they've never had a big one-on-one feud. And I feel like it should happen on the biggest stage possibly in WWE. They're leaving money on the table if they don't. Every time they've hinted at this, people have gotten excited for it. So I feel like that needs to happen. On the AEW side, if we're getting Mercedes versus Sheeta is the way to go. I want to see that match in 2023.
You know what I think about a lot? I'm thinking a lot about what this iteration of Mercedes is about to be. Because thinking about who she's been training with, where she's been training, and then a little tweet came back to mind. Do you remember when she was watching Double or Nothing and she tweeted about how much she just loves wrestling? Do you remember what match that was during? Wasn't it Young Bucks and Lucha Bros?
It was.
I can't help but wonder what Sasha has in mind for what she
has been training in Mexico for a month.
It's a different speed. She's going to be wrestling way different than she ever did in the World Wrestling Federation. So this is going to be super interesting. Yeah, all my dream matches involve Mercedes, and anybody on the AEW. Mercedes and Jamie is crazy. Mercedes and Willow is insane. Mercedes and Trish Adora, I don't know. I want everybody to just wrestle Mercedes every week, just like Bryan Danielson. Do exactly what you're doing with Bryan Danielson, but with Mercedes, and we're lit.
Yeah. RH says Charlotte wins. LOL. Reg is spot on though.
I didn't hate it, but I only mostly because I was so amused by the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, speaking of Mercedes, Mercedes Julia.
This is gonna be.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Ferdhausen says, "Going to my first AEW show in Seattle, not only seeing hometown wrestlers, but they are involved in stories that I'm loving." So, yeah, I mean, like I said, if there was ever a week to not have the Elite Death Triangle stuff going, this is kind of the week to do it because you have a lot of stuff surrounding the hometown people. And I've been underselling it, but like Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho feels like a top tier match. And the fact that it's going to have Ricky at... And the fact that Ricky is still considered, on a different legendary level than Chris Jericho. But this feels right. It feels like a right first time match. So,
do you guys feel on the Kenny side? Do you think the Bucks are gonna go with them over there? You think they're gonna be his seconds?
Well, didn't Meltz talk about this? And he said that they were initially scheduled to go with him, but it doesn't seem like it's happening.
Yeah. I don't know.
What is the over under on my bold prediction? By the way, now that AJ Styles is injured, that he was going to show up at Wrestle Kingdom with Carl Anderson.
Definitely under now. Shout out to AJ Styles. Hopefully he recovers quickly.
Yeah, it does. And, he mentioned that this is going to be the longest time off he's ever had in his career, which is just kind of wild. AJ Styles has been just consistently going for the last 22 years. And he's definitely just been in our line of sight for that entire time. It's interesting to think that he's never had an injury this significant. And now in a time where he is this is why I don't like, as some people on Twitter call them, the safety police of pro wrestling, who are like, don't do that spot, it's too dangerous. I don't like this guy because he wrestles a dangerous style and he's going to cripple himself and blah, 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 blah. The reason I don't like to do any of that is because you never know what's going to cause an injury. AJ Styles, as AJ mentioned himself, he's working kind of the lightest style he's ever worked in his career. And this was the time he got hurt. Like, to me, it's you could get hurt at any time, and that's
on
why
a house show match, not on
a house
TV
show.
or nothing.
That's why I'm just always like, let these guys do what they do, and I think they understand the risks of what they do, and if it happens, it happens. That's the risk of professional wrestling. I think everybody understands the risks of wrestling, but just let them do their thing.
It's unfortunate because it seemed like he was starting to cook again. Other than Edge stuff this year, I've been enjoying a lot of his TV matches. I thought the Ciampa match was good. I thought the stuff he was doing in the build up to the U.S. title stuff was very good. I thought the Finn match was very good as well. And it looked like he's back and working with his brothers again. I thought he was cooking something good again. I was excited to see what he's going to do for WrestleMania. So it's unfortunate.
Yep. Let's see. We've got another one. This one is from Grant B. It's just woo! Look, I mean, Charlotte is back, and she is
Queen
champ
City
again.
Bike.
We got Orion Bid 666 says credit to Shayna for trying to be a good friend.
What is that in reference to? Because she put her foot up on the rope and she was trying to help her win that match, which I thought that was hilarious. That the ref saw him do it.
Yeah.
The ref saw her do it, and he was like, "Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing over there?" And I'm like, "You saw her put.
You watched it, dude. You watched it.
You saw her put that foot on the rope. What are you doing?"
And same thing you said, Orion Ben 666 said, my dreams of Julia versus Mercedes are now at 80%.
I would love to see it.
Kurt Benoit says, highlight of 22, seeing Swerve in Dublin, ain't nobody kicks in. I roar, it's Will Washington's cousin. And in the darkness, a 500 single white guy, someone screams, Grapsody biatch back at me. That's so great.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow. In Dublin. What is happening out here? Wow.
I love it. Mike Harmeyer says DJ and Roman are going to feud over Black Adam's box office numbers, and Roman will recruit James Gunn into the bloodline.
DJ.
Yeah. That would be funny if they do this, and that's the first thing that Roman trying to get someone like, you're not getting it done in box office, so you had to come back here.
I think that's
relevancy.
I think that's exactly the reason why The Rock is not going to show up, because he's like, y'all are not about to be getting these jokes off on me on TV.
No, he's got
Speaking of getting
back.
jokes off, by the way, Top Dollar, they put that man in a box last night. But I have said that that a heel turn is kind of what they need, and this feels like exactly where they're going. Everybody was basically roasting Top Dollar over the botched dive, and then they had Ricochet get some jokes in, and that's when Top Dollar finally shoved him and got angry, and they announced Top Dollar versus Ricochet Royal Rumble qualifier next week.
Woo, bald light skinned niggas with beards. It's lit for bald light skinned niggas with beards right now. Who gonna win?
I think that's where the turn is official.
Yeah, I mean, well, really, the funny thing is, he kind of wasn't wrong to be mad. Like, y'all gonna come a week later and start throwing jokes. I'd have been mad too. Like, what is this?
Nah, for real, I could have been hurt out here.
Y'all get y'all jokes off a week later, like at my expense, like. And it was a room full of us. Like, yo, what are we doing?
What is this? Yeah, what the fuck's going on?
Like, yo, Kofi, what you doing?
But the thing is, that's really how it does, right? I mean, that's really how it goes.
Though.
Yeah, that's how it happens. Yeah,
but I still understand why he was mad. I'd have been looking around like, yo, what's up with y'all?
And I like how Ashanti was like trying to kind of bring it back, and he's like, well, we almost won the tag titles, and they were like, but the botch, like that.
Not enough.
Yeah, I thought the segment was good. I think playing into it is the way to go.
New Day with the broom was very funny. Because at first when they brought out the broom, I was like, "Oh, did somebody like recently get married? Is that what we're doing here?" And then they were like, and then when I realized, it took me like 2 seconds, but when he was like, "Oh, just making sure you can clear it," I was like, "Oh, I see what's happening."
You thought they were going to lift it up a little bit higher, and No Way Jose was just going to come in and start limboing?
Not No Way Jose.
Oh man, Joel Wood. Joel, what's the percentage? Wood says, "See, Rock. That's what happens when you join DC. Your whole character goes to hell. Should have just went to Marvel."
Yeesh.
I mean, he basically said he was open to business with Marvel stuff, and that message he put out thanking the fans.
Yeah. Let's see. Valab says, all combinations of the post Wrestle Kingdom angles are crazy. Jay versus Ospreay, Kenny versus Jay, Kenny versus Okada, Ospreay versus Okada.
Yeah. I really think the story of Ospreay versus Okada is like one of the best stories New Japan is building right now. I think I've said many times, I think that G1 Classic Finals is so good just because of all the story stuff they're doing there with Ospreay. Ospreay's going to beat Okada at some point, and it's going to be a triumphant moment for him. Quietly had a very great year as well. I think any other year he would be Wrestler of the Year if it wasn't, so many other guys having great year as well. But, yeah, I am very curious to see who's going to go over in that match because in my head, I'm like, logically, it seems like Ospreay should win because Ospreay is going to be the guy that sticks around. He's a New Japan guy.
Right.
But
yeah,
I can see the reasoning for Omega to win as well.
Let's see. Zero Prime says, "Yo, Will, did you get a chance to see Sheeta's title matches? I assume you're referring to her Ice Ribbon title defenses or title defense. I didn't know there was another if there was, but I hadn't got a chance to see it yet. But I can easily open my Wrestle Universe app and and give it a watch, but I haven't yet. Wasn't that just yesterday? I think it was. I saw it when she posted pictures, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Shane Monster says, and he sent this before we talked about this, but here's to a less crazy 2023. What's your reactions to Dax's pod? Seems like FTR's future in AEW might be tied to Punk's from Dax's Unity plea.
Well, the funny thing that I thought people misread, and they were like, because we've heard all of the Dax contract stuff going into next year, that their contract is up in April. I felt like this kind of showed the hand that he's not going anywhere. I think he's sticking around. Mm-hmm. I think that anybody that's getting worked into thinking he's leaving and to go to WWE is exactly that. They're getting worked.
Like, because he's saying, I want Punk to come back so we can keep doing this. Like, if he comes back to AEW, how would he keep doing this if he's going to somewhere else? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Got a couple more. Orion Ben 666 says, "So Reg, what Smex toy are you boxing in the kitchen? Imagine being WWE social media director, seeing that video come across. Happy New Year, Grapsody."
Yeah, the homie Jake Paul was wilding, hitting the BBC in his kitchen. I don't know what's going on with that, but boxing something. I'm not a boxer.
Let's see. Deontay says, "I'm at work and I heard Tam Tam name. Don't sleep on her. That's all I'm saying. Happy New Year, my fam. Wrestling 2023 gonna be fantastic."
Thank you, Deontay. A lot of appreciate everything you've given to us this whole year. Always been a big supporter of Grapsody. Very cool. Happy New Year to you.
Caden says, "In honor of the 1-year anniversary of the best promo of all time, who told you it was open mic night?"
Listen, get Brandy Rose back on TV, man. I don't know who needs to do this, but get Brandy Rose back on TV.
Come on. Oh, I know a perfect opportunity for it. The Royal Rumble is coming up, and we do need a new winner. Brandy
See, my brain farted for a second because I'm thinking he was talking about the Jade one. I'm like, that was 2 years ago. I'm like, nope, you're talking about Dan Lambert and Brandy.
Yes.
I forgot you're a black belt.
Oh my God, I forgot
about that line. Which, by the way, I was sitting here like I have to respectfully disagree with our guest and Tony Khan, and We don't need Dan Lambert back on TV.
No, yeah.
No, I'm good.
Yes.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that was a
belt, I'm a
time.
black
So-
bitch is wild.
Cringe. Super cringe.
That
But yeah,
was
bring
the
Brandy back. Brandy 2 belts, baby. I still want my dream to come true.
Brandy 2 belts.
She's holding at the end of WrestleMania. She also does a Roman Reigns, and she works both nights, and she wins both belts.
Fam. What?
Not into it, Phil.
Nah. Nah.
Lamora
Nah.
says, imagine telling Sheeta, well, if you ignore Jim calling you a fetish object because of your ethnicity, you can learn a lot from Jim is just crazy.
That's pretty
or,
wild.
yeah. Or all the other crazy stuff he said about Sheeta. Yeah, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Uncle Jim should go play in traffic.
Wow.
And
All right.
and so on. I want to get to the Humper Chats now. Humper Chats, thank you everybody for the great Humper Chats. We got this one here. Shout out Van Twinblade supporting all year. He says 1 week till the next Glory Pro show. The card: Dan the Dad versus Curry Man, Angelina Love versus Blair Onyx, Kenny Alfonso versus Mike Outlaw, War Horse versus Cody Lane, Camaro Jackson versus Jake Something, 2D versus Kylie Ray. And watch on Fight Plus or come to St. Louis. Tickets still available.
That's a pretty great card that they got going on there. Starting off the year pretty hot.
Let's see. D-Lo Diggs says, been a week gold. I can, or wait, what now? Let's see. Been a week gold. I can listen to the fellas. Also, to finish the humper that got cut off about my Christmas story, parent packed money in the old clothes that played us, or they played us. Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Also, hug your loved ones, of course.
Straight
Oh
up.
yeah. Rest in peace to Barbara Walters.
Yeah. Nah, but really big rest in peace, wrestling wise. We gotta talk Don West, man.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Don West.
Shout out to Don West. Are you kidding me? Like Don West. That was a guy that I think we took for granted at the time. Because I think people in the time period were very much like, oh, why is this guy so enthusiastic? But like, man, it's one of those things where I think we as wrestling fans were so jaded at the time. It was kind of, and then once we kind of got used to this idea of the last couple of years of like, I don't know, just kind of like that. I think that's like Pat McAfee came along, right? And people looked at Pat McAfee and were like, okay, this guy has enthusiasm because he's watching it through the eyes of somebody who's not just been sitting on commentary for the last 20 years and whatnot. And I feel like that was an energy that Don West brought. And thinking about like those big X Division moments, right? Of course, I posted the Elix Skipper one yesterday. But just thinking about some of the biggest X Division moments of all time, and him screaming "Let's go Red," and how much he treated the X Division like he's seeing the greatest action you've ever seen in your life. You've never seen anything like this, and you'll never again see anything like this. I feel like that was infectious, and I feel like that led to the X Division becoming what it was to so many people. Like it took me a minute to kind of learn how much TNA meant to a lot of younger wrestlers who basically saw Don West's enthusiasm and saw that presentation of wrestling and said, I see all this other stuff happening in wrestling, but like that's the stuff I want to do. That's exciting. That's what I want to be. And I feel like Don West helped create a lot of that. He was the voice of TNA for so long. And the fact that he came from outside of pro wrestling, but was like, I'm going to bring all the energy I can to this. It's great.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of like Mauro Ranallo, which I'm
Yep.
surprised he's not doing anything wrestling related right now.
I'm very surprised about Mauro. He was a great commentator. But yeah, Don West being attached to so many of those early TNA memories. Like if you watch a TNA clip from 2002 to fucking 10, you're going to hear Don West saying something. All those great AJ Styles clips he's attached to, the Kurt Angle stuff. He was when I think of Impact, TNA, I think of his voice and the also the guy who passed away. I can't remember his voice right now, but that would intro all the shows. Like those two voices are like super synonymous. You know, of course, Mike Tenay too. Those voices are
TNA.
Yeah, right,
Cross the line.
Black man. By the way, I wish I could remember his name at this moment. But yeah, Don West was. I agree with Will Washington. I think we took for granted him being there every single week. And doing it and just being super enthusiastic, and we're just used to monotone and all these things. So I'm super appreciative of everything that he gave us as a commentator, and rest in peace to Don West. Shout out to his family, all the things, because he was a great part of wrestling history.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, losing family this close to Christmas sucks too.
It's awful.
It does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, rest in peace, Don West. We will miss Don West. Like I was just watching that video of his I was watching the Don West video that it was right before AEW had launched, and he was kind of just putting over everything everybody was doing and how excited it was and how excited he was for it. And he's like, I wish we had done all of this stuff, and I hope AEW takes over because you guys are young and hungry and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, even just in those last few years, he was just excited about the pro wrestling, and he had made a name for himself in it. It was such great stuff. I will miss you, Don West.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, we also have another Humper chat. What's the next one to read? This one's from Atlas Earth. It says, what are y'all's thoughts? Oh yeah, we read this one, didn't we?
Yep.
Yes, we did. My bad. Corey Lamb says, it's been great watching your streams this year, but Reg impersonating the Rampage at 8 on the New Year's episode has had me laughing all year. Keep up the amazing work, guys.
I don't remember that, but I'm sure it was,
I don't remember that either.
That was Tony. Tony.
Oh yeah. Yes. I do remember.
I'm still not remembering what happened.
But after Tony's tweet, remember, like he said everything he said, and then he did the whole.
Okay, I now remember. That was wild, man. It's like, no, I don't really fuck with that shit, but y'all should watch Rampage at 8, though. It's like, what about that first part, though, bro?
That was that was a crazy segue.
What a time.
What a time. Let's see. Kyle says, much love to my favorite podcast, Grapsody. Hope y'all three and everyone watching has a happy and healthy new year, and 2023 is a dope year for wrestling overall. I hope it is. Truly looking forward to it.
I think it should be like we're going to get the full Triple H. I mean, I was going to say full Triple H without Vince, but Vince, the bro could be back. I know I'm saying. Could be anything at this point, but and we should get the full Triple H without the Vince stink being on him to see what he does from coming up on Monday on, because WrestleMania season, he gets to kind of set his own things. So I'm excited about it.
Atlas Earth says, I think Dax doesn't get into detail about Corny's bigotry because he knows his fan base loves him and doesn't want to alienate them, nor alienate people who dislike Corny. In my humble opinion, that's pretty cowardly of him. If Dax is against bigotry, speak up.
Yeah, I get not want to alienate certain fans and wanting to, let fans appreciate certain things they want, but not at that. Not if that's the cost. If the cost is that you don't speak up against bigotry, then I don't agree with that.
Right.
Pablo says, happy holidays, Grapsody. Joining late and just have to say, you all had an incredible year with some of my favorite interviews. Most improved AEW on-screen talent of the year.
On-screen talent. Most improved on-screen talent of the year. I would say.
Now, wait a minute. Is that one from last week? I think we read that one. But either way, my bad. But either way, so I think we did read that one last week. My bad.
Oh,
Because and the reason I misread that one is because we actually have a different one from Pablo, and this one says, "Happy New Year, Grapsody! Thanks for the great content. Will, loudest reaction on Wednesday from our section: Jungle Hook and maybe Acclaimed and Father Ass." Acclaimed did get a really great reaction. I told the story on Day After Dynamite, but I think it's more appropriate here that Max Caster and Anthony Bowens came out to the ring, and they were scissoring everybody. Bowens was really cool. Caster, on the other hand, he scissors both my kids, then looks up and realizes whose kids it is, and he's like, taking my scissors back.
what's up with you, Max?
What's going on here, bro? Like,
What's up with you, bro?
I'm not really getting it.
What's up? Yeah, you seen other Max throwing shots at us? You think it's cool to do that now? Like, what's wrong with you, man?
And you ducked the smoke. The smoke was brought to your doorstep, and you were like,
I'll say I had a good laugh, but it was,
man. Yeah, come on, man. I just gave my man props on his I did too. Segment this week. Man,
I thought it was a great segment, and also the new Dynamite presentation, giving title matches on Dynamite animated versus screens. Excellent shit. I thought that was really cool. But it was funny when me and Caster made eye contact.
Wow,
we're like 2 feet away from each other, and that look of he was like, it was very funny.
Shout out to Anthony Bowens.
So yeah, that was a great experience and a great part of the night. It was great meeting Pablo. Got to talk to him for a little bit, and he also sent another Humper chat. This one just says, still think early Sasha story is wanting to be first AEW tag champs with Saraya to bring honor back to women's tag after what happened with her and Trinity.
I don't agree. I think that the tag thing was the thing that was a pet project over there at WWE. I think Sasha is coming for everything next year.
Everything. Now, that said, I think the moment with Saraya is a really important one. And that's the reason why I think that they're doing this in LA for Saraya's first match on Dynamite, for her first match on Dynamite to have Sasha's involvement and to have that moment where they can kind of it's I won't say like at the Brett Shawn levels, obviously, because those two had real animosity, but to be able to show the world that after Saraya's career was ended for that many years, and now here's her and Sasha teaming together to show we're cool, no hard feelings. Because look, Sasha stans have come at Saraya for a long time.
There are a lot of nasty stuff people were saying about Sasha as well that was really unnecessary. But Sasha's gonna turn on Saraya. It's coming.
Definitely.
Sure. Like that's a story you can tell too. There's a lot you can do, but at least to get that initial moment out of the two of them working together, hugging, I think it's going to be a cool moment.
I think the moment of having them in the ring together for the first time since she got injured is going to be a huge moment for women's wrestling. But yeah, given everything we know about Mercedes' history, she is going to turn on her, and it's going to lead to the one-on-one match. If that's where we're going with it.
That would be cool. As far as loudest reaction was concerned at the show, by the way, because there were some good loud ones. I feel like Brian, when his music hit, got a really good reaction.
Big pop.
Big pop for him. Hook did get a really good reaction when his music hit. But I would say like just the being part of the Falls Count Anywhere match, that felt to me like the loudest that the show had gotten. Was just through the match itself, very loud.
Yeah, I saw someone say Sasha joins Bullet Club. If she joins any Gaijin stable, Soweto tie, because that's the stable in Stardom to join. If she joins the stable over there, it should be Oedo tie.
I can't believe we're just a couple days away. This is gonna be insanity.
Unreal.
Come on, man. Sasha standing next to SLK. Come on. And Edo, come on, bro.
Let's see. Cardar says, what are decent seats for the Royal Rumble at Alamo Dome, floor or riser? This will be my first one. So I sat on the floor at the Alamo Dome for Royal Rumble 2017, but I was also just like, did we have first row? We were really close. I think we were first or second row on the floor. So if you can pull that off, go ahead. But I'd say once you're out of like probably the first 10 rows of the floor, you can't even see the ring. You're pretty much looking at the screen the whole time. So I would say if you can't get in on those first few rows on the floor, then just start looking at risers. You'll have a good view. My view for Royal Rumble 2017, by the way, we were, I had a view of the Tron. That's one of the best views you can have, is getting to see that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And same with this year. We were staring directly at the Tron the whole time. So getting to see the countdown and the entrance videos and all that, that's a great view to have for the Rumble.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been to that arena, so. Well.
Yeah, so you did get to go to the Rumble last year, but yeah, not at that.
I've got to go to another Rumble and wash that palate clean. Being at a bad Rumble. It was the first Rumble I've ever been to, and I got to get to another Rumble.
I gave that my worst of the year on this year's. Me and Denise did After the Year yesterday, and I ended up giving it to Rumble, and I'm sorry. But I talked about how the Royal Rumble sign, or not Royal Rumble, the WrestleMania sign catching fire, I think was the biggest omen of that show being as bad as it was.
And then they just lit it again. I'm like, yo.
Hey, they cleared the fans out the second time, though. They were like, hey, y'all got to get out of here. You don't got to leave, but y'all got to go stand someplace else. They cleared that whole section of fans out because Brock had to point at the sign and have the pyro go off. And it caught fire again.
Brock was Royal Rumble winner this year. I completely forgot about that.
Nasty.
Yep. Life of Deem says, I just want to say Happy New Year, Grapsody crew. You guys are my favorite podcast. Wishing you a lot of success in 2023. And thank you for being incredible voices in this community. Hopefully, I'll see you guys at a show or two next year. I hope we see you again next year as well. That was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure I get every super chat we could possibly get to, because did we get this one? Jared asked, do you think the WWE needs a mid-card women's title?
They have one.
They do, but they don't treat it like a mid-card title.
I mean, that was the SmackDown Women's title for a little bit. I get what you're saying there.
I mean, the tag titles are supposed to be mid-card titles. They don't treat them like mid-card titles.
Let's see. Okay, I think I'm caught up on the super chats, right? Yes. Okay, so we'll start with this one here from Caden. Says, am I the only one who finds the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports odd? Feels like they're only negative towards Punk. Also, Happy New Year's, gents. I mean, it depends on where they're getting info from.
I feel like that's why Punk was so incensed by some of the stuff earlier this year, because he felt like it was very much biased to him.
Right.
And I think that's why he felt like certain people were leaking directly to him to make him look bad.
Yes.
I'm not saying that I believe that to be true, but I think that that's why he felt that way.
Right.
Lee Butler says, I'm a bit behind. That guy sold me weed too. That was a good story at the beginning of the show. I am La Lucha says, just got here, gonna roll back and listen from the start, but I just want to say Happy New Year to the best crew doing this. Much love and blessings. Cheers to an amazing 2023 for Grapsody, Fightful, and black and brown folks everywhere. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate that. And Jared says, do you think the WWE oh yeah, we just read that. My bad. Brent says, Happy New Year's, evil gentlemen. Man, hell of wait. man, Hell of War 2 just feels like TK isn't showing down with the crazy one bit in 2023. Can't wait to see what you guys accomplish next year.
Thank you, Brent. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Brent. And Caden says, after Glass Onion, do we all agree Batista is the greatest wrestler turned actor of all time? His range is phenomenal. I think
it's Debo.
It's Debo. I mean, it kind of is. It kind of is. Nah, man.
I will say that Batista is.
He's definitely in the conversation for greatest of all time.
Yeah, I think Batista definitely surprised people, right? Because like Batista was never a great mic guy, and you know, I distinctly remember everybody making fun of him. I was one of them when he had that line where he was talking about the Hell in a Cell, and he says, "Where weapons are not only welcome, they're allowed." And they're like, you said that. You said that backwards, Dave. And like nobody popped because that was.
Are you sure he wasn't? He was in character as Drax as Drax all the way back then. He was getting his audition in for Guardians.
Could have been.
But yeah, but like, I don't know. When you think about all the stuff we've seen him in, whether it is Glass Onion / Knives Out, whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy, he had My Spy, he had Stuber. Like, he has had so much range as an actor. Like, I think the greatest is still The Rock. And the reason we still have to give that to The Rock is because of what he's accomplished as that guy. To become the biggest star in Hollywood
If we're talking about accomplishments, it's Rock. If we're talking acting ability, I don't think it's Rock.
Sure,
well,
but
Rock,
accomplishments.
The Rock is
accomplishments
in every movie. That's why.
But like accomplishments in film, it is The Rock. Like he is the greatest. No one's done what he's done. In terms of. But then we also have to say that Debo didn't really have much range. He's Debo in every movie.
Man, I'm not letting you do that. He threw that bomb detonator out in Dark Knight, bro. I ain't letting you do that to my guy.
No, wait. First off, yes, he did, and it's one of the greatest scenes in film history. But that was Debo doing it. The fact is, we're calling him Debo. That ain't even his name. That man's name was Tim Lister, and the fact that we still only know that man is Debo because we know that no matter what movie he was in, Debo.
Nah. Put that gun down, Craig. Get knocked out like your father used to. Oh my God.
Debo.
That man's name is Debo. That is, yeah. Rest in peace to Tim Lister. Yeah, that was sad losing him to COVID. But yeah, it is interesting that thinking about how he came into professional wrestling, because I was introduced to him as Zeus. I always knew Zeus, and when I saw Zeus in Friday, I was like, oh shit, Zeus in Friday, right? Zeus in The Fifth Element, like it's he was Zeus to me. That was how that worked.
Nah, my man, and Meteor Man, come on, bro, nah. We're not questioning Debo's body of work.
Yes.
But we call him Debo still.
His name's Debo. That's his name.
Man.
Yeah. That's my boy, punk. Still one of the greatest scenes of all time. Like, to this day, if somebody asks me for something and I go, no. Like, that's...
Man, great. Just... Come on, man. One of the greatest comeback spots in movie history is Ice Cube coming in with the brick and hitting him after we thought he was down.
Great comeback spots. Hilarious.
Stan left his window open. Come on, Smoke, let's go in.
Debo.
Although, am I the only person who consistently thinks about what Stanley was like before Friday? Because they utter the line man, Stanley's been acting like a little bitch lately, and he's like, can you guys stay off my grass, please? Thank you. And I'm like, They said lately. What changed with Stanley before then?
I don't know.
Like, was Stanley just like cool beforehand, and then one day it was just like, nah, actually, I need you guys to stay off my grass. Thank you.
Disperse.
Because Debo was breaking in his damn house. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep everybody off my lawn at this point. These niggas.
Too many
Look,
people from
fellas.
Friday. Too many people from Friday have passed away, man.
I know. It's
Sad.
unfortunate. Yeah, it is. Sad.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Steph the writer says, thanks for a great year, guys. Do you guys think WWE needs to try and move on from the Bloodline in 2023? I think Bloodline just kind of needs a I think they could be on to something. Hear me out here. But it requires commitment. They could be on to something if they position this Hurt Business reunion as the true counterpart to the Bloodline. If you position the four of them against the four main members of the Bloodline, and you have Bobby toe-to-toe with Roman, and you have the Usos toe-to-toe with Shelton and Cedric, I think that would be a way you can keep this fresh. Because right now they have no counterpart.
Yeah. I think it depends on how they finish the Sammy storyline and how they finish Roman's title reigns. I think they've got to finish strong with both of those things. I think that's where I'm at with it. I don't think that the Bloodline has kind of lost its luster yet. I think that the Sammy stuff has made Bloodline more entertaining than it's ever been. And so I think it's just a matter of finishing that storyline well.
Right.
Yes. And I'm looking forward to it because we've got some exciting twists in the storyline, of course, because Sammy was the one that lost in the tag match, and that's obviously not going to keep Roman happy. And we'll probably, I imagine, with them going toward Roman versus Kevin Owens at Royal Rumble, I can imagine that we're approaching the turning point for this storyline and where it's really going to hit its climax. I'm ready to see a lot this year. I think Hunter's probably been holding on to a lot of cards for the build-up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Did I say Tim Lister? I meant Tommy Lister. My bad. I had it wrong the whole time, and the chat's all correcting me.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I've seen some people that are like, do we really need Bloodline back? I mean, not Bloodline, but Hurt Business back. And I think because the Hurt Business got most of their success during pandemic wrestling, I think it is a suitable test to see how they're going to work in front of a live crowd and see if it's a sustainable act. I think they at least deserve that chance because they never got it.
Right.
Oh, and you know what? I tweeted about the rumor that it's going to be John Cena versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania. I really hope not. I really hope that
I don't want it.
just thinking about the idea that John Cena is in this last leg of his career, and there's still some dream matches left on the table for Cena. For Cena, that's what I want to be seeing is dream matches. And then for Logan Paul, I feel like, look, I get it, he's a star, but I feel like in the realm of wrestling, he hasn't earned the John Cena match. Like, thinking about if John Cena has that few matches left, like, there are dream matches on the table for him. If you have a possibility of Stone Cold Steve Austin working the show, John Cena versus Stone Cold is your match. Absolutely, that has to be the match. And then thinking about Logan Paul, like, I think him just getting started like this should be having matches with guys kind of proving that he belongs. And so, like, I posted on Twitter that Logan Paul, like, if he's not going to have the title match, Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins is where I'd go. I think that's the type of match where I know for Phil, it's like, look, that is not the guy I want to see him with. But to me, I'm like, okay, if you want to show that Logan Paul is a rising star who can hang with the best of them, and Rollins, I feel like Rollins is a part of the roster that you're showing that Logan Paul can hang with. But if it's just going to be part-timer versus part-timer, you're essentially just taking up TV time for two part-timers. Whereas I think if you're going to bring in a part-timer, it should be used like, and I'm just talking from a viewer standpoint. I'm not talking about, building the wrestling business, any of that. I'm just talking about if I'm watching this show, it would be weird in any TV show for side characters to come in, for cameos to come in and essentially get the show to themselves, or get even a segment of the show to themselves, and not be involved with the main cast members. Because like that's what I would be excited for. And I think that even in a professional wrestling environment, don't bring in two part-timers to just work with each other.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of him having whatever 3 or 4 matches and then immediately getting the Cena match. I'm good.
I see people want to see Cena versus Gunther. That's a good option. Cena versus Theory. And, the Theory dropping the champ is here the last week on Raw was kind of the first time I felt like, okay, I can see that this is possible.
After last night, people want to see Cena and Gunther for what? He's not going to take no chops. He ain't going to take no power bombs. He ain't going to take shit. What do you want out of that match?
Because come on, for America. What do you mean?
Oh my God! If that's all the storyline, if Cena came in to work Gunther and it's just America versus
for America, I've never won the IC title. That is the last thing I haven't accomplished with this company. For America, I will bring the IC title back to where it belongs. Come on, man.
No.
That sounds rancid. Not like the match itself, I think would be good if we got Big Match John in it. If John was willing to have his chest caved in.
He took 0 bumps, and you think he's gonna let Gunther turn his chest in?
I mean, look, that Cena taking no bumps in a match you knew he was gonna take no bumps in. It's a John Cena like tag match, and it's a special appearance tag match. Like you knew what he was gonna do here. Like at least I did. I felt like we've seen this before. We know what Cena does here. I almost thought. The only thing I found insulting in the match is Cena was really hamming it up on the tag, like, tag me in, come on. Like, it's the art we have on this Twitter stream, but the picture of Cena reaching, or Twitter stream, the YouTube stream, but Cena reaching and, like, hamming it up, like, please tag me in, please tag me. And it's like, he's not going to get tagged in. At no point is he getting tagged in on this match. Oh, it's my mama calling me. Look, it's my mom. I'll call her back shortly. But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Gunther Cena can be good, but I've also seen that report that they're talking about Gunther versus Brock, which I know Gunther is a Brock fan. So
yeah, I'd rather have that.
That makes a lot of sense. But there are good options out there.
There are good options. We're starting to see it all come together. And I hope for big things for this WrestleMania season. I think it's going to be exciting. But also, I think Wrestle Kingdom is going to be exciting this week. I've been looking forward to that.
I think we're doing Ask Grapsody the day after Wrestle Kingdom, aren't we? Very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because we'll have seen it all. And I said on After the Year this week, yesterday, and I'll repeat this point, that I think after Wednesday, everything should be really clear as far as who the tag partner is. We'll know. Even if it's not said, we will know by the end of the day Wednesday. Everything should be fairly clear. As somebody in the chat's asking what happened to KO's eye. I've seen Twitter speculation that it was a receipt for Survivor Series. I hope that's not the case.
Hope not.
Yeah. I mean, it did happen in the match, and it did happen in the exchange with Roman, but I can't imagine that being an intentional receipt.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair to run with that.
I wouldn't run with that at all. And that's basically all I'm going to say is I can't prove that at all. So I wouldn't say that. Let's see. Will McLean is asking, what time does Wrestle Kingdom start? I've seen 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. Eastern. I think it's at 3 Eastern, right?
Yeah, it's usually around that time period, too.
Yeah, I usually start watching it at 1 a.m. on West Coast time.
Yeah.
And Roland is saying, "Hey, Grapsody, which venues would you like to see for Forbidden Door and Full Gear in 2023? I have Boston to Forbidden Door and Toronto for Full Gear."
What are you talking about? United Center for Forbidden. I've said that Forbidden Door should happen in New York this year. I think that that's a good spot for it. I know that they don't want it. We've talked about it before, and Will doesn't want them to run Madison Square Garden. There are spiritual reasons to do Madison Square Garden because of the Ring of Honor show that was there and other reasons. I would like to see them do New York.
But hearing Tony talk about Ring of Honor, like he's not, he wants to get so far away from the tropes that WWE has created that I don't think he would ever book MSG at this point.
Yeah, I mean, even if you decide to do that at Arthur Ashe or somewhere else in New York, I would be interested in it.
Right.
As for Full Gear, I don't know. It's a good question. I think Canada deserves a AEW pay-per-view at this point because they haven't gotten one. So Toronto makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
My mom still be leaving voicemails. I see I have a new voicemail, and that is, I don't know, this old people thing. You guys' parents ever leave voicemails still?
Nah.
No, my dad still barely knows how to text, and so his text is really very funny. And I'm just like, yeah, nah, Dad, you don't have to do that. No, I don't know. No, my dad. Usually, if I talk to my dad, he doesn't leave a voicemail. No, I feel like that's solely a mother thing to do, is to leave a voicemail.
My mom will send a text like, "What's up? What's good?" She don't be leaving too many voicemails. So.
Nah, I mean, my mom, when she calls, it's like the only person. I'm pretty sure all my voicemails that I still have on my phone are from my mom. Nobody else. It's like bill collectors and my mom, and that's it. That's the only people I ever get voice messages from. Let's see. So I'm trying to answer Redmond's question here because he says, "Do you think TK will give Mercedes a post-Dynamite press conference after the LA show? I feel he needs to present this as the huge deal it is." So at the moment, I'm not seeing any press conference announced. Actually, it says, as far as that show is concerned, there will not be a post-event media scrum. So that could change, of course. CM Punk did have one for the first dance, so I could see that happening. At the moment, though, there is not one. So maybe there could be, but specifically, it does say there is not. I think if it is her, though, they should. Absolutely.
Yeah, they should allow her to address media like a professional.
But I could have sworn I was told she's unprofessional.
Try to gather my thoughts on the potential question.
What a way to bring that back around. I will say this, and I'm going to throw this out there as we wrap this show. Mercedes, come to Grapsody.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel like
no bushes to beat around. Just pull up. We want Mercedes on this show. So fucking bad. I don't care. I'm killing kayfabe. We want Mercedes here.
Killing kayfabe.
We want it.
We'll talk to you about everything. We'll ask you all the questions.
Yeah.
We'll fawn a little bit, but for the most part, we're
gonna fawn a lot of it. I'm gonna try to get my shit together before it happens, honestly.
Yeah, she should definitely come through. But man, what an amazing year. I don't know if I've said this on this podcast yet, but out of all the guests we've had on this podcast, and Jade Cargill, Willow Nightingale, everybody we've had, Danny Limelight, EJ Mduka, Tony Khan. Appreciate all of them coming through. Appreciate everybody we've had that are just friends that came through. Big homie Cam that came through last week. Graham. Everybody that has been a guest and supported this thing that we've made in a year. Everybody that we've met at shows this year that has, stopped and said hello to us. Everybody that's watched our podcast and retweeted our podcast. Appreciate you. Big Emilio that every time I talk to him now, boast about being one of our highest viewed episodes. And I have definitely given him shit because I'm just like, when does the New Day start in their podcast again? Because if you guys don't know, he produced that podcast. And I'm like, bring back Feel the Power. What's going on, man?
Yeah.
And just appreciate everybody that's come.
Got me
man.
through many a drive, by the way. That podcast was one of my favorite listens.
Great podcast. Man, appreciate everybody. Big shout out to Sean Ross for giving us the outlet. Shout out to Roll Mikes for giving us equipment. Just been a great year, man.
Been a really great year.
Great year, man. Appreciate all of you guys, man.
And honestly, this is the first calendar year we have completed Grapsody. We were on every single week this year. I missed 1 week because I was traveling to Chicago.
Oh, that's right.
Other than that,
SP3 came in and filled.
Shout out to SP3. Yeah.
Yeah. Swerve came through twice on the show. Once as a free agent, and then again as one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Interviewed the big homie. Shout out to the big homie for coming through, man.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
It's been like
it's been a year, man.
But honestly, like all those interviews are great. But honestly, like just the episodes where just the three of us are talking for 3 hours and laughing about random things or anything is just great. Like just waking up on Saturday, getting to talk wrestling with my friends, unfiltered, blah blah blah. It's just, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Shout out to my homie Cole that helped us with the live episode. Big homie Andreas Hales that helped us with that. Just so many people that have been supporters of what we do, man. Appreciate y'all.
Love everybody who has helped and supported Grapsody this year, and there's going to be a lot more next year. And yeah, I love everybody. All of the people who have been adjacent to Grapsody and just in the community. Look, I've said it before. I will continue saying it. I have wanted to see. I've been in this space now 18 years. The 2023 is the 18 years. Started in 2005. And I have wanted to see Black people succeed in this space for a very, very long time. And they were succeeding long before Grapsody, so I don't think I'm taking credit for that. But the support that we've gotten, and in the same vein, the support we've been able to then turn around and share it likewise, and just seeing the community kind of bring each other up is always a cool thing. And I want to continue to see that out of Black wrestlers and Black wrestling media alike.
Yeah. Man, I think one of my favorite things we got to do this year is get on and talk about Punk in one of our highest viewed episodes and give Jossie that interview, just because I think Jossie is great. And yeah, just a lot of great things I thought we were able to do this year, man. Just couldn't be more grateful.
Honestly.
Yes. It's going to be a really great year for Black women, by the way. 2023, like the fact that we're already, the whole conversation is surrounding Mercedes. What is Mercedes going to do? But we're already also having a conversation about what's next for Jade, and we're all speculating on who's going to beat her. Could it be Red Velvet? And then we're like, but who's the opponent for literally one of the longest reigning Raw women's champions of all time in Bianca Belair? We just keep having these conversations right now. And
doesn't Trish Adora have a big match coming up this week for Tokyo Joshi Pro?
Yep.
So
busy out here.
No, this is going to be a great year for Black women in wrestling. Like, I've been 2022 to put a bow on this. Just it's been a wild roller coaster of a year. There's been a lot to talk about, but there's also been a lot to enjoy, and I hope that you had a chance to find something you loved out of this year. To close all of this out, two things. One, if you haven't gotten your vote in the Fightful Awards, make sure you do. FightfulSelect.com. Although everything's got kind of clear winners at this point, but me, Sean, and Denise are going to be hosting the official presentation of the Fightful Awards this January. So stay tuned to that. It'll be right here on this channel, youtube.com/Fightful. Also, speaking of things that we do over at Fightful, over on Fightful Overbooked, going on right now. Fightful Overbooked is chatting 2022 and looking into 2023. And all the super chats over there are going to the Overbooked contributors. So head on over there And again, support Fightful Overbooked. There's a lot of ideas that go into Fightful Overbooked, and it's kind of cool because you kind of get to test. It's a way to kind of get to test drive some things for Fightful, really. And I say that because I got to be the first, right? Like Day After Dynamite was just an idea I had, and that somebody had asked me. They said, "Hey, I missed your reviews from RBR reviewing Dynamite. Would you be willing to do that again sometime?" And I was like, well, Jeremy's launching Fightful Overbooked. Let me see if I can do that. And I started Day After Dynamite on Fightful Overbooked. Show did so well that Sean wanted it on main Fightful feed, and that's where it is now. And I just think about the fact that without Jeremy giving me that opportunity with Fightful Overbooked, that wouldn't have happened. And so, support Fightful Overbooked, because the more those shows get to grow, you're kind of giving them opportunities, and it's a cool thing. So, any final words from you guys?
I don't know. Did you miss any super chats before we get out of here?
Yes.
I don't want anybody to yell at us.
Yes, Van Twinblade says, get Tootie on Grapsody.
Oh, we can pursue that.
Tootie's
Yeah,
great.
we should.
Totally.
Absolutely. I'll reach out. King of the North says, Festies coming soon.
Festies is absolutely coming soon. Don't know when that date is coming, but it's a tentative launch date. Me and Graham have to get that out to the people. So I know you guys have been waiting for it. No, I don't think I got anything else, man. I just, if you would have told me that starting this year that we would do that episode where we were like, nah, you coming through, Tony, or not? And didn't show up that episode. But at the end of the year, to finish the year with that is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I did say I extended the invite to Tony at the beginning of the year, and he did come through at the end.
We did it.
We did
that. We did do that. I don't know, man. I don't think I got anything else. Final words, I guess, is I'm right and I'm always right, man. I'm sorry.
That's the way.
That's the
Happy
way.
New Year to everybody. Hope you
Happy
guys
New
have
Year. Be
a
safe
night.
this year.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. Enjoy yourself. Don't drink too much, but definitely smoke too much.
Yeah, man. Enjoy some Boston baked beans, and
We will see
watch
you.
that ball go down.
Some coochie.
We will see you in 2023.